Let me give you more reasons to follow the homie Sil for the latest news, scoops and moves he's about to reveal. From coffee talks to special brews, I'm out of burgers for meals. A cup of bourbon with that tea that's about to get spilled. Like, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go, take out your pen and paper, sit down and take notes. Sil is the realest among imposters, scavenging cutthroats. So, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go. Between DC and Marvel, they both have us startled. Disney's moving finicky, let's not mention Star Wars. All these movie execs be drunk off their power, disconnected from the fans in the ivory towers. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. When they keep making the same mistake, that's what you call insanity. They can't even acknowledge their self-inflicted calamity. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go. Scoop Senator, coffee talks, also covering analytics, making his own reviews, cause it's always been the critics. They clout chasers, money driven, repeating the latest gimmick. Come over to Sil Nation where true vision is given. Listen, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. Let's not forget Mikey's son, always special to the crew. From day one when him and Sil got together for special brew. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go. I guess I finish on this note. When the niggas go flip mode, they turn gremlins, I'm Gizmo. Come from my people, my kinfolk. For them I ride for and kill for. With this pistol I'm skillful. She can really escalate till it all goes abysmal. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. I'm a watchman, forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go.
What's good? What's good? We back live. Let me get my screen together. We back live. It's 2026. You know, we getting back into motion here. Much love to Sub Nation. We are live. Let's see. I ain't got my headphones on. Can't hear what's going on. What's good? What's good? I see Jovic in the chat. I see Fernando in the chat. Hitman, what's good? That's Mr. J. Happy New Year, chat. Happy belated New Year. It's been a minute since we've been live over here on YouTube, but I thought it was pertinent to go live with this new series that I'm doing, Rumor Roulette. What's good? What's good? We back in here, y'all. You know, it's some interesting rumors that we all come across, and I was like, you know what? Let's just entertain this. Let's just see what's going on, and I'll kind of explain those who's not familiar with this new series I got across all my platforms. Rumor Roulette. Definitely having a lot of fun digging up some stuff. Shin, what's good? We're gonna try to be back regular over here on YouTube. But also, as we see, I have my, this is the long form channel on the podcast. Also, we're streaming on X Twitter. So on X Twitter, engage with the tweet, share the tweet or post over on YouTube. Y'all already know what y'all should be doing over here. We need to be smashing the like. Make sure you still subscribe. We're going to keep giving it to y'all over here. Don't worry. Much love to Soul Nation. I took a nice holiday break. I'm about to start doing that more too, man. He's like a mental health break. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to be doing. Let's see. Too much going on my screen. Nike boy, what's good? It's a lot of topics we're going to touch on today. I'm telling you, it's interesting stuff. Of course. Okay, let's explain the rumor roulette, right? Let's explain that after I drop my commercials. So again, long form channel, that's here on the podcast channel. Also, we got the short form channel as Sylabdul Geek. I'll be hitting y'all with, you know, some short form videos. All that revolves around the topics I normally talk about. DC, Snyder, anytime Warner Bros. Messes up, right? James Gunn DCU, there is an audience that, you know, on my platform that, you know, because I think people saw I had a pretty open mind this past summer about just what James Gunn could deliver, right? Now, I feel it's mixed results. Some people love what James Gunn is doing. So, you know, I allow a space for that conversation, right? But, you know, in all honesty, I do feel James Gunn is against the clock with his Warner Brothers sale and, you know, pending. And, you know, DC has to bring it. DC has to bring it. So we'll talk a lot about that. But as far as the rumor roulette, shout out to Nike boy. That's like I said, interesting series. But again, those are the platforms there. And also here on YouTube, there will be streams like this, you know, around the topics that I normally talk about. Of course, live, and then also there'll be members streams as well too. So still become a member, and that would definitely be rewarded with content as well. And it'll be some of these rumor videos that I'll be hitting as far as you know, this podcast channel, short form channel, and then become a patron if you want expanded coverage. There's gonna be more Marvel, still some stuff DC sprinkled in. It'll just be a broader rumors. I just had a Marvel Blade rumor roulette just for Patreons, and that's just kind of like a hint of what we do. And like I said, we're on X Twitter as well. That's sylabdul. So let's see. Still got people coming in. What's good? He still needs to change that wax suit. For sure. Yeah, mental health breaks. I'm really going to utilize that more around the holidays and, you know, just refresh, reset. Really having a blast doing that. Smash a like. Make sure you're not subscribed, or make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're still subscribed, or make sure you're not. Maria was good. Yeah, so we back reset. Let's see. So okay, so the rumor roulette. So again, this is when I hear rumors all the time, and most everyone that's subscribed, most of the times, I'd be like, that's a bunch of fluff. They got different things in there. But what really struck me to do this series is that I got some rumors. I've been getting a lot of Marvel stuff. And I was discarding a lot of it. I was like, I can't run this. This is fake. This is fake. And then I asked a couple people about, it was an Avengers leak. And the people that I asked, they was like, at first it was like, oh yeah, it's fake. There's a lot of fake Marvel stuff. But then in the middle of the rumor, they was like, wait a minute, like they got word for word what happened right here in this new Avengers coming out, right? So it was like mixed, it was like fake stuff, verbatim, fake stuff. And I think that's really how people are leaking stuff now, is that they'll make it seem like it's all fluff, and then they'll put in something real in there. So instead of just discarding everything that I hear that I really can't, source directly, I'm like, let's entertain it. Let's speculate over it, and then we'll see what people have to say. There's some interesting stuff we're going to touch on the SnyderVerse leak out there that I haven't been able to confirm anything with this. So this is just going to be an interesting conversation with the SnyderVerse stuff. There's also some James Gunn DC stuff, part of the rumors that we're going to discuss today. And since we're live and we got some of the familiar people in the chat, we'll cover a few news items before we get to the rumors as well too. And yes, people talking about the Avengers. So let's actually start off with this. Let's start off with this. We got a new Avengers teaser. And let me set this up right. All right, first L of the day. Here we go. We're going to check out this Avengers teaser real quick.
I've lost everyone that matters to me.
Now, a lot of people have a lot to say about Shuri, Black Panther, right? And I'm of the opinion, actually, my opinion has kind of been adjusted lately. So I'm always, leaning back towards what's in the comics, right? I'm always like, hey, if it's in the comics, let's see if you can execute it. Shuri, Black Panther is a thing in the comics, but what I've been reminded from a lot of people is that not everybody reads comics, right? And that's fine. That's fine. Strictly comic book readers is not the core audience of these films. And that really just kind of finally landed with me, because people are so worried about accuracy, and the whole thing about Superman. Yeah, it was this whole accuracy issue. And I was like, you know what? That's direct comic fans is not the audience. They're comic book movie fans, and they get their knowledge from the actual movies or from the old animated series, right? They grew up with, or they grew up with the CW DC. So I'm kind of back, because at first I was like, people was like, oh, I don't like Shuri, Black Panther. I was like, well, she had a run in the comics, but was it really hidden? And are people really, flocking behind her? And then on top of that, you got Wakanda Forever, which is not a bad movie, Wakanda Forever. I just feel like they never should have made it. And I think they forced Coogler, because Ryan Coogler, you see, when you just leave him alone, he makes masterpieces. And they kind of forced him into that. It wasn't a bad movie, but it just wasn't necessary. It was just a long funeral, in my opinion. And so now, I don't think the fanfare is really with Shuri like that. I'm talking about the movie fans. It's not even about comic fans. It's just, is this character hidden, right? So that's just kind of my thoughts about Shuri. This was
To prepare our people.
Wakanda and
afterlife.
Fantastic Four. Namor. Again, this dude, when you see Wakanda Forever, I'm like, I can't rock with this dude. You took out Angela Bassett. I'm not really rocking with these people right now. You know what I'm saying?
Afterlife. I have mine.
King M'Baku of Wakanda.
Ben, Yancey Street between Broome and Grand.
I mean, I like this interaction. Now, so I get past the stuff that I was like, but this Avengers films, really, Infinity War was like a huge comic book crossover, splash pages. Really, Civil War tried to do that, but they really nailed it with Infinity War. And so, again, the comic book side, I thought it landed perfectly, right? But also it landed with movie goers. So I think this is going to be nice crossovers all in this Avengers Doomsday. And in Secret Wars, because what I heard is that Doomsday, yeah, I think it's going to cook. But Secret Wars is going to be like times 10, whatever Doomsday does here. Let's see what we're saying in the chat here. We see James in the chat. Was good. Let's see. That's money, James. Okay. You thought it was weak. I mean, again, all these teasers were kind of, quote unquote weak, except, the X-Men one, right? This is light promotion that they're doing, trying to build up a little hype, showing the interactions. And I like this. I like this little interaction here. Only here for X-Men. Yeah, let's give the people what they want, right? Oh yeah. Jump over here. We'll give the people what they want, the X-Men. She was only Black Panther for like 4 issues. It was more than that. It was a mini-series run, and she fought Namor in the comics as well. I think she got rocked. But yeah. No desire to see Wakanda Forever. I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's just it wasn't needed. Never should have made it. This gives real nightmare vibes with Doom replacing Darkseid. That's wild. We got Carlos in the chat. What's good?
Isn't? Are you prepared to die?
We're here for the X-Men.
Who will you be when you close your eyes?
Bro, I mean, this is the one right here, bro. This is the one. Nuts, man. Come on now. Like a lot of people have been saying, like, Feige, you're sitting on X-Men. Y'all got, y'all rushed to do this Fantastic Four movie. Should have probably did a legacy Fox X-Men movie. Because this is the teaser that landed, like it leaked. The what was it? Steve Rogers. The Steve Rogers cap. That was a nice little teaser, but we all knew he was coming back. I mean, that's been leaked out, in advance, right? So no one was surprised to see Steve Rogers back. The Thor, again, it's like, this X-Men, Avengers was already going to do 2 billion. Now I may do 2.5 because of this Cyclops shot. Are they going to kill off all the old X-Men, rebirth them in these films? Well, no. Basically, these X-Men, they're on a different Earth. Of course, it's all going to, all the stuff is going to combine on the battle worlds. Deadpool Wolverine kind of gave you the blueprint of how they're going to combine Earths. They're going to have battle worlds. So they're going to use the void in a way, and it's not going to be just a bunch of sand. It's going to be like complete, worlds or parts of worlds in the void. And it's going to become Battleland, and You're gonna have some nice crossovers. By the time you get to Secret Wars, it's gonna be some insane crossovers overall. So they don't necessarily have to kill them off, but it is gonna be a reset. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this Cyclops shot is everything, right? It's everything. They could just stop the teasers. In fact, I think it's not gonna be any more teasers until the full trailer. I guess Super Bowl Sunday. I guess that's a month from now. That's when you do it. You're gonna have people worry about those yellow trunks. And again, what I'm noticing, these purists, they're not the target audience. Not these purists. Interesting stuff. So that was that with the, let me get that out the way. We're doing too much. We got a few news items before we get to the rumors that we want to consider here. And again, the trailer, Avengers Doomsday, December is over. Right, is over. That's one thing I could bring up real quick, just to get brief thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy. It's been long discussed that she was going to be out of Lucasfilm. Now it appears Dave Filoni and Linwin Brennan will be co-presidents of Lucasfilm. Filoni will oversee all creative development. Brennan will oversee executive. So this is basically Gunn and Safran, right? Filoni is Gunn, minus the allegations. No, and Brennan and Safran handling the business. And this announcement is expected soon. I've always said I'm the casual Star Wars fan. I like the prequel. I was more of the prequel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, I like the OG ones, but I was of the prequel audience. Revenge of the Sith. Episode 3 is the greatest Star Wars film to me, personally. A lot of people say Empire Strikes Back. I mean, I watched it. Yeah, I like it. But for me, it was Revenge of the Sith. That was the one. Let's put a poll to the chat here. Does Filoni make you excited for Disney Star Wars? That is the question. Well, I mean, in 2026, we're trying to be more interactive with the crowd, right? So we threw the poll in the chat. A lot of people, not what I've learned, and shout out to my mutuals, I guess they used to be the Phantom Menace. I don't know. But they're Star Wars purists. And there's a debate because I thought it was always said that Filoni was the apprentice of George Lucas. But it seems to be some major pushback on that I thought Filoni was the guy. Now it's not really sounding like that's a consensus with this overall. Let's see. Minus the allegations, yeah. Yeah, the high ground, man. Like I said, nothing against the original trilogy audience, and they swear by the George Lucas Bible. He made the prequels too, but I understand Jar Jar Binks is kind of wild. But I remember being in theaters for episode 2 at the end when Yoda just went crazy. I was like, this is, because I wasn't there in the theaters for the original trilogy, right? I caught that stuff growing up. I was in the theaters for the prequels. And that was wild, episode 2. And then episode 3, I thought it was like the greatest villain film ever. So, I mean, I'm just saying, that's just me. But do we trust in Filoni? I still got to finish the all those Clone Wars animated. Again, I'm more casual with Star Wars, but I'm loving the is it the Clone Wars? There's like 7 seasons of this stuff. I'm not even halfway through those. And I think you got Rebels. I wasn't really big. I still got to catch up with that. So when I saw the Ahsoka series, I really wasn't understanding the character development from is it Star Wars Rebels? So I didn't really catch a lot of stuff with Ahsoka, but once I kind of catch up with the backstories, maybe I'll give Ahsoka another chance as well. So I don't care about Star Wars. Last good movie was episode 3. Yeah, the new was it the Disney trilogy that left a lot to be desired. The new trilogy. Dave Filoni is going to play it safe with Star Wars. Looking forward to Star Wars content. You got Mando and Grogu, which I think is going to do decent money. It's just I don't really feel the buzz for that like I thought I would. But again, it's hard to gauge until they really start promoting because Mando and Grogu comes out this year, right? So I got my movie list for this year. Let's see. I think I got my new list. Yeah. Mando and Grogu, May 22nd. So we'll see when they really start ramping up the marketing for Mando Grogu. I just don't really feel the buzz yet because like Avengers, they dropped this little teaser, crowd goes wild. I think there's a Mando Grogu teaser out there somewhere, but it ain't going, triple platinum like like Avengers is, right? I mean, I'm just saying. There's gonna be a lot of movies to discuss this year. And that's really what gets me excited about all this. Let me catch up with the chat here. Anything's better than what they've been doing. Yeah. There goes Speedy. I knew if I said the word Star Wars out loud, that Speedy would be summoned. Star Wars may not make it. Oh boy. I knew the hype for Star Wars was down. Me and Speedy did like this long, nice conversation about the season 2 of Andor. And I put some time into it and I was like, let's kind of talk about how we feel about it. And like no one watched the video. And I was like, I think Star Wars is cooked. It's like no one really cared about those discussions. Not like DC, like even James Gunn Superman, whether you hated it or loved it, it was part of the conversation. And Star Wars, like even people that hated Star Wars, they didn't even want to hate talk about it. They were just like, I'm not interested. So when I originally said, oh, Mando Grogu's gonna crush after what we saw with the box office last year, I'm not so quick to jump on these films being successful. Avengers, yes, we see the buzz. Avatar, that's just a built-in $1 billion, plus. Star Wars, Mando Grogu, I don't know. How are we with this this poll? Not a lot of love. Not a lot of love for Filoni. That's rough. That's rough out here. Maybe we get some more votes on that poll. Does Filoni make you excited for Disney Star Wars? Currently at 67% no. I'm just going off what the streets is saying. People love Star Wars. Online hate isn't going to stop Star Wars from making money. You're probably right. Filoni is baloney. Let's just Filoni didn't do well under Kathleen Kennedy, but yet to be seen how he does as head of Lucasfilm. Fair. That's my approach as well. That's kind of where I'm at. We got Superman 78 in the chat. Not even into Star Wars. What's up? What's up with you, man? We just heating up. This gonna be a lot in this show tonight. We'll get to the rumors, the SnyderVerse rumors as part of the Rumor Roulette series, and James Gunn, DCU, Wonder Woman, Batman. Those are the rumors we're going to talk about today. Yeah, Rogue One hit hard. That was a banger to me personally. Rogue One. Let's see. Yeah, I thought a trailer was out there. Like I didn't see no one really share it that much. Now Twitter's kind of weird with the algorithm now on Twitter, but because like basically if you're really engaging with the topic, you'll get a lot of tweets about it, and just maybe I just wasn't really interested enough because it didn't come on my feed at all. So yeah. Not big on Star Wars, but prequels were really creative, expanded universe, building, in my opinion, new trilogy. Felt like nostalgia bait. Yeah. They just felt kind of rudderless with that Disney trilogy because, you had JJ, you had Jar Jar Abrams, right, with his mystery boxes, and then you bring in Rian Johnson, who should stick to those little detective stories on Netflix. He does those great. Don't come over to Star Wars no more. Rian Johnson came in there and they were just like, you just do your own thing. He reconfirmed it. Like, yeah, they just said, don't even follow the storyline. Just and then they saw Last Jedi went too far and says, okay, Jar Jar, come back and fix this with more mystery boxes. Like, oh, okay. I'm just saying, just in my opinion, like, was that Rise of Skywalker? That's the worst Star Wars film ever. Let's see. Yeah, Avengers, no, guarantee $1 billion. I mean, just like what Avatar just did, Avengers may do that in like one weekend. Worldwide, they may just get $1 billion dropped on them. And then from there, you're talking about 2.5 billion. Star Wars is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy. We'll see. The only thing that would make me excited about Star Wars again is if Disney sell the IP to a competent studio. Well, Disney ain't gonna sell it for sure. They're gonna milk it because they got all those amusement parks and stuff. So they're making money from Star Wars. Let's be clear when I say this too. Like, whether we like it or not, they're making a money from Star Wars. It's just the films. The film may just be overpriced commercials for them because of the merch and the, what do you call them, theme parks and stuff that they get money from. So yeah, I don't think they're like looking to unload Star Wars just because of all the money they get from it. In my opinion. Amazing to see the Star Wars drop off. There was an entire Star Wars conventions. Now this, yeah. I'll see where we at with the. All right, people still voting on the polls. We're at 70% no. So, and again, obviously this is a small sample size. Only got about 25 people in the chat on YouTube. I guess I could put this poll on Twitter as well. So let me doctor this up real quick. Let's see. Does Dave Filoni? No, real childish. Let's see. Am I spelling his name right? Filoni. You excited for Disney Star Wars? Let's see. We'll throw this on the on X. So those that's watching this on X Twitter, try to hit that poll up. Let's see, let me pin it. And we'll see if we get some hits from that. But right now it feels like a no. It feels like no one's excited. Now, me as a casual Star Wars fan, I just want them to do something. You know, just bring some more lightsabers, that's in blasters. That's all I want to see. I'm very general. You know, that's why I like Mandalorian. I like the season 2 Luke Skywalker moment, right? So I'm real easy to please when it comes to Star Wars. If you just don't do nothing, I'm just like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know. Just like Hamada Burgers, Filoni baloney. We got Cuban comic fan in the chat. What's good with you, man? Yeah, if y'all haven't yet, smash that like. We got to get these algorithm back up over here on YouTube. So we need y'all smashing that like. Y'all doing great commenting. Make sure you're subscribed. Good stuff. We're going to get to those rumors. SnyderVerse rumors. DC, Wonder Woman, Batman rumors. Part of the new series, Rumor Roulette. Really looking forward to seeing what y'all think about those rumors as well. Let's see. I'll give the poll a little bit more time. Did they hit? We got a few votes on Twitter. Right now it's 50-50. That's what we like, 50-50. Okay, let's catch up with the chat. We're going to keep this moving. Yeah, just do a Darth Vader solo film. I thought that's what part of the appeal for the Obi-Wan series was. Oh, they was bringing back, Hayden Christensen. So I was like, okay, we getting young Darth Vader. What we gonna do? And they didn't really execute Obi-Wan series properly, but I liked what I got. I mean, it was better than Boba Fett. Yeah, the Mangold prequel film is technically still alive. I have a feeling because Mangold, he went and did this that low budget film. He got a lot of buzz from the Bob Dylan film or whatever. I think it was with Timothy Chalamet. So I think Mangold is kind of falling back doing smaller projects right now, and I think if he does that Star Wars film, which sounds good, that prequel, where it's like the beginning of the Force and stuff like that, sounds interesting. Or it's like the old Jedi Order or whatever they're doing. I wonder if he's still going to do his DC Swamp Thing though. So I don't think he's going to end up doing both of those projects. I think he's going to do the Star Wars, and it's no telling what's going to happen with DC. If Netflix gets closes the deal, or even if Paramount steals it. We're going to talk about that WB deal in a moment too. But yeah, Mangold, I don't know. We'll see. All right, I think we're caught up with that. Let's end the poll. That about 68% a no. Oh, the Motu, that Masters of the Universe film. Where we at? That's gonna be interesting. Where's that coming? I got the movies for this year. When's that come out again? June 5th. Now, obviously, some of these dates will be subject to change. You know how they do us. You make this whole nice graphic, and then I didn't make this graphic, but then they end up moving titles. But Masters of the Universe, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Yeah, because from what I heard, it was during the filming. I usually get information when stuff isn't filming. And again, that's gonna be some leaks that I'll probably put on my Patreon when I get stuff like that. But it seemed like they were kind of going for like a Earth base. Like the first act may be a slow burn for some people, but then not to try to spoil the film, but like it's kind of like Thor and his hammer. When he gets the sword, he turns up. So we'll see. We'll see when they got the final cut out there. All right, let's transition. Because we got some news items. We still want to kind of hit some stuff before we hit the rumors today. Okay, so this Netflix, let's go to that. This Netflix sale, Warner Brothers deal situation. Netflix supposedly, well, they did come up with a deal with Warner Brothers. I covered that. It came out of left field for a lot of people because a lot of people was thinking Paramount was going to close the deal. Netflix up jumps and makes a deal. But then Paramount is, trying to do a hostile bid and saying that Netflix doesn't have the proper, doesn't have the superior deal. Paramount is still trying to yell and scream like, hey, no, like no one's looking at our deal. So that's one thing. And then a lot has been made, like, what will the Trump administration do? Will they just upright and block this Netflix deal? Well, it seemed like Netflix, they met with Trump and the administration is cool with it. And then this comes out. This comes out here. Let's see, let's put the commercial down. Trump went out there and posted this. You see the obvious Netflix WB image right there, right? So they're saying stop the Netflix cultural takeover. And this whole think piece is about how Netflix is going to be a monopoly. And Trump posts that article as well. And it's like, oh, shoot, like, is Trump going to have his people blocked? Is this political games that's going on? Because it looked like Netflix had this in the bag. And there's another part of this as far as with Paramount, but it just seemed like everyone was like, okay, Paramount is over, go away. We're taking your toys away, stop bidding on Warner Brothers. But with this coming out again, for this deal to get through, you just, people may hate to hear this, but you do got to do what Trump wants. And I don't think Trump cares either side. I know there's this whole thing about CNN, and we're not going to make this too political, but there's a thing about CNN and everything. But I honestly, my honest assessment is that I don't think Trump cares who gets it. It's just who's going to be on his side, who's going to cater to his whims, right? Shout out to Hoss 2846 becoming a member. It's going to be YouTube member exclusive content, just like what you're getting now. We're still going to have lives, and at times I'll have members only lives, or just members only uploads. So much appreciated to you. 2026 again, member stuff. You'll be getting a lot of film stuff, DC, Snyder stuff. James Gunn DCU as well too. So very excited for this year, and thank you for joining. But yeah, Trump, man, I think it's all political games, y'all. I really do. Yeah, that's what I think. Because at one time, people was like, Trump was favoring Netflix. People thought, at first it was Paramount, and then they thought he was favoring Netflix. And he distanced himself from both sides, really. Trump did. And then he drops this like 48 hours ago. And I'm like, oh, crap. And that's what I think is that Netflix was probably playing Trump's game, and then something's changed in the last couple of days. Yeah, most people was like, you know what? I don't even care who gets it. I don't even care who gets it, just whoever's. And I think, and hey, I mean, I'll just be honest here, right? I think, I was team Paramount the entire time because of the Saudi connection. And I know a lot of people didn't like the whole foreign investors thing, but just selfishly, I was like, I know we're going to get a theatrical SnyderVerse film. And I think if Gunn is doing good, they would do everything. If Netflix gets Warner Brothers, maybe we can get something streaming. I still think we can get some SnyderVerse stuff that way as well. I just rather theatrical, like, just to be quite honest, but that's just me. Haas says, I wanted to drop a donation, but don't know how, so I did the join thing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, either way, I'll become a YouTube member. That's appreciated. You'll get more content with that. You could tip the platform by scanning the barcode or the little barcode thing, or the I think my Stream Elements link should be in the I don't think it's in the chat, is it? It's probably in the description. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot of L's going on. I don't even see my Stream Elements. Oh yeah, it's in the description. Support via PayPal or other form of payment. So yeah, Stream Elements is in the chat. I guess it's not scrolling. It's not scrolling in the chat there. So more L's, but appreciate it though. We got Avenge Californication again. Becoming a member. More videos and streams like this. Also, too, it'll be exclusive uploads and things of that nature. Film talk, DC, Snyder, all that fun stuff. We keep it canon.
Canon.
If you know, you know. Yeah, there's super chats as well too. So yeah, whatever way. Oh, Ouroboros. Okay, I didn't know who that was. Okay, everybody changed their name since last year. What's going on? Yeah, definitely it's going to be more box office battles. That's going to be for sure an exclusive members upload. If people aren't familiar with box office battle, when there's some nice competition in the box office, I try to go to the movies as much as I can. But then you're going to have certain weeks where it's going to be some interesting drops, coming to either the same weekend or a week after another. Like this summer, you got Toy Story 5 dropping, right? This is an example of a box office battle. Toy Story 5 dropping June 19th. Supergirl drops the next week. There's a very good chance that Toy Story 5's second week is going to crush Supergirl's first week, right? So it's going to be very interesting, just the demographics and things like that. So just an example, box office battle. Or if a film is just going on a nice streak, I like to circle back and just kind of look at the numbers. So Super Mario Galaxy in April, very interested if that's going to, match what it did before. And then to the Michael Jackson film, very interesting. So, all right, let's get back on track here. Okay, we got super chat here. Let's see. If I could read properly, I'll. All right, here we go. Is that how the canon Zach was a real one for that? Hey, let's run it back.
Canon.
We had to kind of, YouTube was scared of that image. I had to kind of skew it a little bit right there. So much appreciated. Let's get let's get into it. Let's see. I wonder why my stream elements ain't working. I'm about to get that back on track. But yeah, so this is wild here. So this is one thing with this thing. Like, is Trump really going to block this thing? And then recently, let me kind of blow this up some more. Paramount is, trying to sue. They did sue Warner, but they filed a suit with Warner against Warner Brothers, saying basically it's a lot of gibberish here. But the main thing Paramount was saying was Warner Brothers is not considering our offers for their shareholders. We are offering more value than Netflix. This is Paramount's argument. And Paramount is saying, again, the WBD board, including Zaslav, is not being transparent with WB shareholders, not giving them all the information. Paramount feels their deal is more valuable. And that's the main thing what this is saying. Because the whole time Paramount has been told, oh, you just got to up your bid. You just got to up your bid. But now, by filing this suit, and then you got Trump coming out against this. Now, just before I went live tonight, this drops. Netflix is planning to file an amended offer. Why now? Why now? So something wasn't right with this Netflix deal. Paramount was actually correct in pressing them like this. And I know most of us just kind of, again, I brushed away Paramount too. Like, I get out of here. You don't know, you ain't got the money, all right? It's a done deal. No, this isn't a done deal. I know, people have different agendas and want to do victory laps. And I was all for if Netflix won this fair and square, roll with it. Because I think for DC overall, I think this can be a good deal for DC. SnyderVerse, there could be a lane there too. I think for Paramount, clearly you're getting a theatrical SnyderVerse. So that's why, again, I was leaning towards Paramount. But with all this pushing that Paramount's doing, and all of a sudden Trump comes out, now Netflix wants to do a amended deal. I thought y'all had the best deal. Sneaky Netflix. Sneaky. What we got here? Zach, trust me, that's not easy to do. Oh, for sure. No, and let me be clear. I'm gonna have a James Gunn conversation in just a moment, specifically because there are some James Gunn rumors that dropped. But I was being fair and objective when James Gunn Superman came out, but I only can compare it to how I felt with the SnyderVerse. While there's a lane for what James Gunn could do, and I think there's a bag that he can, reach people, it doesn't compare to the epicness of the SnyderVerse, to me personally. And there's, people that got their own opinions. So I knew the excitement I felt going to see BVS, because Man of Steel, we really didn't know what we're getting into, right? I mean, they dropped the picture of Cavill, in the Vault and things like that. So I was like, okay, we're excited. We're going to get an action Superman, right? Man of Steel dropped. And, the rest is history with that, right? But then when BVS, we knew what we was getting with BVS. We had a hint at the epicness. And just that feeling, that buzz that I was going to the theaters for BVS, I didn't have that with James Gunn Superman. That's just my honest assessment with that. Is James Gunn Superman enjoyable? I mean, if you don't hate it, the kids love crypto. It has its own comic booky feel. Mr. Terrific, I think, is great in the film. Nathan Fillion actually does pretty good as Guy Gardner. But I already gave my full critique of Superman. But my point is just to this comment here, just the feeling between the two different films. It just is different worlds, right? I agree. New offer. Why now? Because they weren't being transparent. Exactly. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Netflix wasn't being honest. And so Zaslav was in on this. So why were they railroading and ghosting Paramount for? Right? David Ellison was actually telling the truth. He was stomping and screaming for like 3 weeks now, saying, hey, they're not looking at our deal. Why are they shutting us out? Like, I just want a fair bid. If Paramount has a better bid, they should win. But now Netflix, it appears they didn't have the better bid. This is odd. This is kind of odd. That is what it is. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, they admitted that deal. Some funny business going on, y'all. And I get it to own Warner Brothers outright. You got a top 2 studio in the world, Warner Brothers. The IPs you get with that, Harry Potter, obviously, DC, Lord of the Rings. You get Matrix. You get a piece of the MonsterVerse, Doom. You get a lot of stuff with Warner Brothers IPs, etc. Willy Wonka. It's like, it's just. So I understand it's gonna be some funny business going on, but everyone that counted out Paramount, this may be turned into a real bidding war going into the spring, and we're gonna be here to cover it. Rewatch Man of Steel, BVS, ZSJL for the holidays. Best trilogy ever. Hopefully not a trilogy in the future. Hey, we want that 5-part story. Like when I say restore the SnyderVerse, I know people have different feelings of how many films that means, and that's cool. Like rock on. A lot of people want Man of Steel 2, the Batfleck movie, Wonder Woman 3, Cyborg, right? Everything, and finish Zack's story. I'm good if Zack just finished the story and he could do one film and film it back to back or whatever, and that completes the story. And I think everyone can move on because we get to see that dark side Superman fight. That's all I want to see, man. Don't rob us of that. So that's what I feel. Yeah, I'm not against Gunn's fans. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I've shown, to the chagrin of some people, I'm not against Gunn fans at all. Now, I think he's goofy, and I'm going to make fun of him probably in a little bit here, but I'm going to give him a chance. Well, if you're goofy, but yeah, it's two different worlds, and that's fine. That's fine as well too. I think we can have it all. That's been my messaging the entire time. People were getting so hard on just Gunn has to fail for Zack to have a chance. I'm like, no, that's never been the narrative. You can have it all, right? That's how I look at it. The new hashtag. The new hashtag. Oh man. Hey, if Netflix closed this deal, technically, those that were saying hashtag sell Netflix to Warner Brothers, that's the hashtag that really hit. We'll see what happens with SnyderVerse, right? But now, not so fast, Netflix. Y'all ain't playing fair. What's going on? Usually I look at the poly market, which it doesn't guarantee a thing, but it was favoring Paramount the entire time to win this bid. Paramount was like at 60-70%. It's now flipped, obviously, because Netflix appeared to have a deal. Netflix is still favored 55% to close it. So they still got the majority on the poly market. We'll see. But this story ain't over. Yes, I think that's what everyone wants, that the entire world became a Justice League. I just want Air Cut, ZSJL 2 and 3. Yeah, man, that's and that's what I'm saying. I think it's advantages either way this goes. If Netflix, because again, it looks like Netflix is like, okay, you caught us. Let's put all our money into this. If Netflix closes this, I think Air Cut's coming, Schumacher cut, for sure. And again, this is speculation. And Schumacher, as far as the Schumacher cut movement, they really want a theatrical screening. And I think, again, Netflix can make that happen as well. Just like it could be a special weekend. You know how they re-release those Spider-Man films, the Raimi films? They re-release, the Star Wars films out there. I mean, even Warner Brothers, they re-release Tim Burton Batman films all the time. So they can screen, it could be a limited release. They can screen a Schumacher cut, right? But yeah, I think Netflix could easily do those things, right? So I think it's advantages either way. Like I said, Paramount, definitely some theatrical advantages. So yeah, I feel that. Now again, this is a great comment. Like, we don't have to be negative with Guns fans. We need to let it be. We just want Zach. But this is the thing. I understand though, like, yes, my platform is probably, the more objective between both sides. In the chat, some of you Snyder fans don't know, y'all shoulder to shoulder with Gunn, with Gunners, right? People that just love anything James Gunn does. And like I said, it's fine to have his place with that. But, we do understand there's people who are very critical of Snyder stuff, who happen to be James Gunn fans. And then there's Snyder fans. We know how some of y'all feels. I hate James Gunn. Like, so it's just the reality we live in, right? It's just the reality. And I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to change the world here. Feel how you feel. All right, so let's transition here. Again, we're still getting to the rumors, but I haven't been live all year so far, so got to catch up with some of these topics, right? Let's see. Let's get into one thing I kind of overlooked before I got to this Warner Brothers stuff. I'm sorry, the Warner Brothers sale. Sebastian Stan confirmed in the Batman 2. What is Matt Reeves cooking? Like, this film, and now I was supposed to put a poll, because my New Year's resolution is to be more interactive with the chat. So let me back up for a moment. We'll get to Sebastian Stan, but definitely smash the like. Make sure you still subscribe on the YouTube side. How we looking at with these likes? Hold on. Let's get some more likes on YouTube. Much appreciated. But I wanted to put this poll out when I was talking about this sale. Who do you want to purchase WB? Netflix, Paramount. We're just doing two choices, all right? Let's throw that out there. And I kind of fumbled my poll online for the Star Wars, but it's still 50-50 Star Wars as far as for Filoni. So let me do the poll on I'm sorry, on Twitter as well. It can't let me do it like that. Okay. Well, forget Twitter right now. Or actually, let me see. See if there's another way. Can I do it in the comment section? Yes. Okay. Who do you want to own WB? Netflix, Paramount. We'll do it like that. We'll see what happens on the Twitter side. Trying to be more interactive. So far, Netflix getting most of the love for the majority. Bro, it's good. Yeah, Matt Reeves, bro. This man? He's up to something. Like, this is going to be possibly a generational film. Now, a lot of people will be like, yeah, hold on, sylabdul. In 2023, you hated Matt Reeves. Well, first off, again, I can have my opinions. I can have my likes and dislikes. I didn't like Matt Reeves' 8 films. Okay. I didn't think he was cooking with those. And he came with the Batman that walks. I have a pretty infamous Matt Reeves Batman review. I got a chance to get an early screening of Matt Reeves Batman. I think it was like a Wednesday screening or something out here. So it was like an afternoon, early evening screening, late afternoon. And I fell asleep in that film, man. It is the pacing. It's like he was trying to cook with, the scenery and bratty Batman. And he's mouthing off to Alfred. It left a bad taste in my mouth, the first film. I was just being honest with that. It wasn't hitting for me. Then the Penguin series came out and it kind of fleshed out that Gotham. And I was like, I kind of get what Reeves is trying to do. I kind of get it. And then I still didn't go back and watch the original Matt Reeves Batman, but I think I'm looking forward to more in this world now. And then if he can, have a less bratty Batman, I think this could be a really good film. The cast looks amazing. ScarJo's in it. Now Sebastian Stan. I think he has a chance to cook with this. So, again, I don't shy away from my opinions. I know the Reeves bots, been upset with me since my critiques. But I like where Reeves is going now. I do like where he's going with this film overall. Yeah, I like, seriously, I dozed off and I was just like, man, and you talking about a slow burn, like that's like like a nursery rhyme, a lullaby. And then he thought he cooked with that twist at the end. Oh, Martha is an Arkham. It's like, bro, come on, Reeves. There ain't no twist, bro. You better go. You better go. You ain't got no twists out here. So he just got to come correct. That's all I'm saying. After the Penguin, I'm like, okay, I want more of this world. Let's see what we got. See what we got. Brat man. Yeah, Reeves thought he was cooking. That first one, I was like, hold on, man. Like, I was looking around the theater. It's like, y'all buying this? Y'all think this man cooking? You ain't cooking with this. This is a very straightforward reveal. Like, he wasn't cooking. But I'm open now. I know this upsets those Reeve bots. I know it upsets them that I could be critical, but nah. You can save that. But part 2, I am looking forward to part 2. Man. Robert got beat up by street thugs. Now I would say anyone that's still holding off on the Reeves world and watching, if you weren't interested in Reeves the Batman, I do suggest you should watch the Penguin. You just as content, it's just a good show and great storytelling. And Reeves didn't write that one. Now, it's people part of his team. I'm not trying to jab Reeves when I say this, but I'm just saying Reeves didn't write Penguin. but Penguin is in his world, so he could probably get some notes, right? And that was a great show. And they're ramping up this part 2. This is gonna be a huge film. Warner Brothers is gonna have new owners coming in 2027. This is gonna be a huge film for them. It's Batman, and it made decent money. Part 1 made decent money. What, $770 million? I think they can maintain or do more. Because I'm not predicting box office like for everything anymore. After Superman, we're not going to predict too much, but I'll probably predict about domestic numbers. I think it's going to do really good domestically. Avengers worldwide, I'm not doubting. This is going to be certain films that's going to slap worldwide. Avatar, Avengers, Spider-Man. Very excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day. The Odyssey. There's going to be certain films that that's going to really hit. I think the Batman Part 2 has a chance, but I'm not going to guarantee nothing. No. Let's see what Netflix is crushing it. So I know with the poll, a big angle with this is Paramount, and again, it's a political side to this, right? So I get why a lot of people wouldn't want Paramount overall. It's kind of like a lesser of two evils thing. I don't like Paramount, let Netflix get it. And so, I mean, if it ends up, because Netflix is now up in their bid, being honest now, I like the potential of just DC in general on Netflix. I mean, the plans that I heard, I was telling the patrons this, and link in the description for the Patreon. Netflix wants in on DC content. DC Studios will be restructured somehow, or just insert Netflix exec to do DC streaming. So it's going to be some exciting stuff. I still think Netflix is going to lead the theatrical stuff to Warner Brothers, / Saffron Gunn, if they succeed. But on the streaming side, Netflix is going to diversify. Their plans is to diversify DC. So I am excited for that potential. And like I said, I stated why I want Paramount, but so we'll see. We'll see. Netflix got kind of caught red-handed. Now they up in their bid. So, okay. Or amending their bid. Okay. We'll see. Penguin's not rewatchable. And I guess I won't do spoilers, but the way Penguin ends, it is kind of make it hard to rewatch it. But I have rewatched it since then. It's a tough ending. It fits the story, but it's a tough ending. The Penguin. Bass, in fact, fight scenes have to improve for sure. No billion? We need the Alfred picture. No billion. I'm not going to guarantee $1 billion. Like I said, I think this could be a very domestic man film. I do believe that. Let's see. But most people are leaning towards Netflix. Like I said, it has its advantages. I think we'll get all the cuts that we're supposed to get. Ayer cut, Schumacher cut, more SnyderVerse. I think it will mostly be streaming stuff, but it's a lot of potential there with Netflix. Domestic man. Netflix films just look slightly less appealing to me. I like Glass Onion, Army of Thieves, Bullet Train. Yeah, I mean, that recent one, Wake Up Dead Man, part of the Knives Out series. That was a great film. Netflix can give you some good original films, good original stories. And that's what I'm saying. If they have a team dedicated to do DC events yearly on Netflix, no one can deny that could be some good potential right there. So I welcome that. Again, I don't know how hard they would go with the SnyderVerse stuff, but it remains to be seen. But DC in general, I think they do their thing. Well, like I said, I mean, I've been making fun of Paramount as well, even though they were my favorites to get this. It looked like they lost and they were kicking and screaming, but then all of a sudden Netflix, is like, oh, let me add a zero on here. So Paramount had a point. So this still all has to play out, because when Netflix amends their deal, then Paramount's gonna be like, okay, now we see what you're really paying. Now we can up our bid. This ain't over yet. Netflix may be the favorite, but Paramount's not done yet. They're actually not. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. Netflix, if Netflix gets this, like I said, the pros is, man, they put all that DC stuff on there, man. I will binge DC all day with Netflix. I don't like Batman just taking bullets and eating a bridge bomb to the face without damage. Hey. Yeah, Paramount, I thought they were going out sad. They had a point, y'all. I'm not feeling Netflix. They can't be trusted. They also have Dan Lin, who's a Snyder hater. I don't see enough people talking about that angle. I thought Dan Lin would be open to Zack Snyder and Debbie Stone Quarry, right? Dan Lin succeeded Scott Stuber, right? And Scott Stuber was, very, very supportive of the Snyders, of Stone Quarry. Rebel Moon having that release. Got 4 films from Zack Snyder, Rebel Moon, with just one budget, $166 million. Rebel Moon, I thought it did well enough to warrant to work with Zack Snyder some more, right? If you're talking about on Netflix under one budget, Rebel Moon was a top 2 release on Netflix all time. Yes, it was 4 releases under one budget. Combined views is there. So when you had all that, and then Dan Lin and Scott Stuber leaves in the middle of these releases, and then Dan Lin comes in, and you don't hear nothing else about Zach doing any Armyverse, Rebel Moon. It's been at least reported out there that the LA SWAT film Zack Snyder wanted to do, Dan Lin didn't want to pay the proper costs for it, because Zack needs to pay his crew to make this stuff. So it's a little weird feelings with Dan Lin and Netflix right now. It just, people could champion Netflix all they want. It's just no one realize, or I don't see enough people looking at this development. You know what I'm saying? And to just be 100% comfortable that Netflix is going to do right by Zack Snyder now. Meantime, Zack is working in some capacity with Warner Brothers again for the 300 prequel series. These are just the facts, right? Twilight of the Gods, the animated Zack Snyder series on Netflix. This may sound like a hyperbole. I didn't see anyone talking negative at all on social media about Twilight of the Gods. I only saw positivity saying, "Oh, Zach's in his bag." Like, yeah, do your thing, Zach. Even the haters was like, "Hey, this ain't bad." The haters like the Snyder cut, 4 hours. But so I'm just saying, it's just they don't hate just all the things that Zach does. They were liking Twilight of the Gods. Not a peep about season 2, but then you see Netflix in our face putting out another Tomb Raider season. Yeah, have y'all been watching Tomb Raider animated on Netflix like that? Because I know people been watching Twilight of the Gods. But Tomb Raider gets season 2 announced immediately. Now, it could have been part of the deal. I get it. I get it. But they're doing this in our face. And then people want to be so confident that Netflix is going to just hold Zach's hand immediately. Hey, Netflix bought Warner Brothers. Just SnyderVerse just happened to be a part of that. So I'm just saying, that's why I have trepidation with Netflix. And I think that's clear. I don't know why people pretend they don't understand. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the Netflix crowd are stuck thinking Zach is still in the same place. Yeah, 2-3 years ago, I would have been waving my towels just like, all the pro Netflix people. Like, oh yeah, Zach's in the house. People want to bring up quotes that Zach said 3 years ago. What would Zach's quote be now? Hey, I mean, I would love to do Rebel Moon 3. Like, Zack Snyder's ready to do Rebel Moon 3 and 4 right now. So, like, you know what I'm saying? We can bring up quotes from 5 years ago all day. What's happening now? I told you, we're talking about what's happening now. And it's like, we'll see. You got to show it. New information has come in, right? Scott Stuber was there. Snyder flourished. Dan Lin there. Snyder Project start getting canned. Yeah, but in 2022, this is the same people that go back to the Sujihara Warner Brothers era. Well, when Hamada did this and Jeff Johns, like, no, what's happened in the last 2 years? There's a new Warner Brothers regime. I trust them more than Netflix right now. Yeah, but in 2016, come on, man. We can't be blind to that now. I know I haven't been gone that long. But just my goodness, we gotta restore some order around here. Stop pulling up quotes from 2022. Then Zach said he'll work with Netflix if they get the SnyderVerse. What's happened since then? Now, I hope Netflix pulls this. If Netflix gets it, I hope they pull it off. But we can't ignore what's happened. That's all I'm saying, man. People are getting their feelings if they want to get in their feelings. I'm a lot of emotional people out there. Netflix didn't understand that at best Zack Snyder is Snyder Unleashed. They should have released extended cuts. Yeah. I'm on record, Yovi. I agree with you. I understand the angle because I had a nice debate with someone about this. I understand with Rebel Moon, you want to do the PG cut to get a broader audience. But then after you get your first week or first month numbers, Netflix top 10, whatever you want to do, then drop the real cut. You shouldn't have waited like 8 months or however long they waited. That was a fumble. Now again, Stuber already left. Stuber was there for the part 1 release, and I think he was phasing out before part 2. So I just wonder if Stuber was still there, if they would have released these properly. I just wonder. That was on Dan Lin, in my opinion. All right, let's catch up here with the chat. Ain't nobody talking about Sebastian Stan right now. I mean, it's cool. Looking forward to what he does, but ain't nobody talking about that right now. Let me look at the poll. Let's go and end the poll. Who do you want to purchase WB? Overwhelmingly, Netflix, 68%. I understand. And like I said, hey, I hope Netflix does right. Now, it's interesting. On Twitter, we got Paramount 66%, 67%. That's interesting. Let me pin this up so I can get some more votes on that. That's interesting. YouTube crowd overwhelming Netflix to buy Warner Brothers. Twitter crowd overwhelmingly Paramount. I wonder why. I ain't gonna get into that, but I'm just saying, I wonder why. I'm gonna stop right there. Let's keep this moving. Because I ain't even trying to make it about that. I just find it interesting. Twitter wants Paramount. Okay. Oh man. It's been a while since I did these streams, man. I forgot how fun this is, man. Smash that like. Make sure you still subscribe. We're gonna do more of these, man. We're gonna do some member streams as well. We're gonna do some members uploads. We'll throw some stuff on Twitter at times. Paramount Twitter wants Paramount. Anyway, let's get back to these comments. I missed someone's comment. Okay, here we go. So I think it's interesting that the LAPD was announced first, but Brawler is coming first after the last photograph. That's just interesting. Exactly. After the LA SWAT film was, they basically didn't want to give Zach the budget. So Zach was like, okay, I want to film my original story, Last Photograph, as well. Netflix passed on that. Zack and Debbie Snyder, Stone Quarry, has a first look deal with Netflix. I broke the story in 2024. I broke the story that he extended his contract. And it's going to be up to 8 to 10 years. So Netflix has first dibs on any original Zack Snyder story. And so they didn't want to pay him for LA SWAT. And then they passed on Last Photograph. So Zach was like, okay, bump it. I got funding from other people. I'm going to make Last Photograph and I'm going to shop it at the film festivals. Zach, come on. When Zach takes the Last Photograph to any film festival, just the cinematography alone is going to sell Zack Snyder's film. So you're going to have a distributor out there. It could be Paramount. It could be Universal that will pick Warner Brothers, that will pick up the Last Photograph and put it out, Zack Snyder. And Netflix passed on it. But I'm supposed to feel comfortable and warm and fuzzy about Snyder specifically with Netflix because of a quote from 2021? What's happened since that quote? What you're detailing right here, right? The Brawler film, that's coming out reportedly through Paramount. I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but it sounds like Turkey Al-Sheikh and the crew, TKO Entertainment, in conjunction with the UFC, that they're going to have that Paramount's going to distribute it. But they haven't announced that yet. We'll make that part of the rumor roulette right now. But no, that's the word out there. So all these other studios stepping up. Netflix. I'm supposed to feel like Netflix, like we won. Snyder fans, we won overwhelmingly with Netflix. I don't know. I agree with you. On that. I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with the Paramount side because again, this ain't over yet, and I'm in a comfortable place right now where it's like I can just sit back and see what happens with all this. Right? Let's see if Netflix. Obviously, something wasn't right with those papers, Netflix. So now they're amending their deal. Now we're going to see what they're really putting in for this Warner Brothers deal, and Paramount can have a proper bidding war. May the best man win. That's all I want to see. Yeah, Last Photograph is going to be amazing. We already know it's going to be amazing. They don't want in on the Zack Snyder business because they had I know you're saying this tongue in cheek. They had a chance to just, in a sense, flood the market with Zack Snyder content. Or every quarter they could have put something Zack Snyder out. Like they haven't taken advantage of this in the last couple of years. So interesting. Let's keep this moving. Because it's about the rumors. We're trying to get these rumors out here, right? Let's see. Before I do that, this was interesting. Zaslav related. You people, this one here, I'm going to pull up a video. It's for this crowd, probably. I hate James Gunn and Warner Brothers in that too. Yeah. This here. There was this, I think it was a Critical Choice Awards, I think, recently. And it was interesting monologue out here.
Sinners is the story of brothers who start this really fun place for entertainment, and then vampires show up, suck the life out of everybody, and burn it all to the ground. Fun fact, the original name of the main vampire was David Zaslav.
Hey, look, the Luca was busting up. Hold up. I just shows out the Luca was laughing his butt off. Hold on. I gotta adjust this. Give me a second. The Luca got his contract. He was cracking up. If I'm Zaz, I'm like, hold on, bro. You laughing too hard, bro. Hold up. Now you see Michael B. Jordan's like, hey, man, hold on. I got a Warner Brothers deal, I think, that's coming. I can't laugh too hard. The Luca's laughing like, oh, my God. You see on the far right. That's the Luca. Hey, he's dying. Cougar's trying to remain oblivious the entire time. The Luca, he did one of them lean forward laughs. Like, oh, my God. All right, hold on. Before I don't know who aired this, so we gotta throw the goggles on this one. Luca did one of them. Now, earlier in the show, I think Zaza was sitting behind him, and I think he left. Sometimes they rotate seats or leave. And it looked like the Luca kind of looked to see if Zaza was still here, and he just run that back.
Sinners is the story of brothers who start this really fun place for entertainment, and then vampires show up, suck the life out of everybody, and burn it all to the ground. Fun fact, the original name of the main vampire was David Zaslav.
They look like, oh, shit. That wasn't right, man. Y'all leave Zaslav alone. He just trying to flip this company, man. Someone to write a hit piece under immediately. Man, DeLuca was like, because if people know the backstory with that, Zaslav, publicly through different trades, threatened DeLuca and Abby's job, like this, and then DeLuca and Abby, thanks to Sinners and Minecraft and this generational run of Warner Brothers last year, in the theaters, that saved DeLuca and Abby's job. They got the extension, multi-year extension, so they'll be there at least to 2028, meaning they will be there when the new owners are there and beyond. And I think they'll get another extension. Now, Safran and Gunn, they didn't get that luxury of an extension like that. Man of Tomorrow has to crush, I feel, for Gunn and Safran. But DeLuca, man, DeLuca was dying. One more time.
Sinners is the story of brothers who start this really fun place for entertainment, and then vampires show up, suck the life out of everybody, and burn it all to the ground. Fun fact, the original name of the main vampire was David Zaslav.
Man. Luca ain't laughed that hard. he says it's AI. Oh man, that was a good one. That was a good one. All right, where are we up with these likes? Smash a like. Make sure you still subscribe. Twitter, like the post, share the video. Let's get to our rumors, right? Like I said, at times I'll have live streams that covers the core topics. Again, big DC fan, Snyder fan. There's an audience for the James Gunn DC stuff. In just big film news, like I'm really excited this year, like I said, with 2026, the lineup of different films. Members will get the box office battle, a lot of exclusive box office talk. So I'm really excited, like I said, to talk about that. But a new series for this year is Rumor Roulette, where we just see what everyone's talking about. People love rumors. I'm seeing a lot of people don't care if it's true or not, but what I've learned from a lot of rumors I received really for the past several months is they're like purposely putting out fake information and then real information buried in there. That intrigues me. And so some of these rumors may seem outlandish, but we get to speculate and see what's true. So let's enter the rumor roulette. What am I looking forward to most this year? After that great setup, let me back up and pull up this. I appreciate you. You're a new member, so let me briefly mention this. This year, I'm mostly looking forward to July. I think July is going to be a great month of cinema because you get July 17th, The Odyssey, the Christopher Nolan film. 2 weeks later, you get Spider-Man Brand New Day. Very excited for that month in particular. I mean, it's going to be several films every few months I'm going to like, and maybe every month. July is going to be, summer is always kind of a fun time for box office on this platform too. I saw that with Superman and Jurassic World Rebirth and everything. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting time. Good stuff. So let's first bring up the James Gunn stuff. Let's start with the James Gunn stuff. And basically with Rumor Roulette, what we do. No, you good, Hoss. I'll just we with these rumors, there sometimes people just put out stuff. I ask around with people and see what's true, what's not. Or as we say, what's cap, what's hot. That's what Rumor Roulette is. We're trying to, and then I tell you what I'm hearing. If I'm hearing something with this. So this is the first piece. You'll kind of see how we do this. Man of Tomorrow rumored to feature a spoiler reference. Wonder Woman will appear. Is the rumor. It says over the past couple weeks, several different scoopers have sent speculation into overdrive by sharing Man of Tomorrow casting details for a character that sounds a lot like Wonder Woman. It seems James Gunn is really in the process of searching for an actress to play a new take on the iconic Amazonian warrior for a Superman follow-up. Now, let me kind of interject now, because this is kind of why I'm doing this series, so we can address what's out there, and then I can kind of plug in information. There was a lot of talk of a Wonder Woman film, and that film was fast-tracked. But it's not that the film is fast-tracked. What I'm hearing is that Gunn knows that Man of Tomorrow has to be his ultimate load, right? As the saying, you can't save any bullets. This is where James Gunn is at. Now, people will say, James Gunn Superman was so successful. And domestically, it did great. Overall, it did they put in the books that it made a profit. I'm not going to argue about this today. Okay. Netflix saw the same books. Netflix is saying, oh yeah, Superman made a profit. So I'm done talking about profitability with Superman. But my point, they're not expecting a lot. This is what I'm hearing. They're not expecting a lot from Supergirl. Now, it could do decent. It can make a profit. I put out there with Supergirl, if people remember, I put out there weeks ago what I heard with Supergirl. After the trailer came out, I was told, hey, they would be cool if Supergirl just makes Black Adam money. Now, a lot of people scoffed when I said that, but they forgot a couple years ago, I was told that they would be happy if James Gunn's Superman only made $500 million. They will spin it and make it like it's a success. Now, I did more than that, and they put that in the books. And then it was actually confirmed as well that, oh yeah, 500 was their number. Remember 5 to 600. That's already out there. That's the fact. I don't got to re-explain that anymore. So from the same people, they're telling me Supergirl, they're going to go out there and say they spent less on Supergirl. That means their number is lower. Now I put this out there before the trade said, oh, they just spent $100 million on Supergirl. They came out and said that, and I was told that before. Their number, I believe, when they finally come out with Supergirl, is like 375, or basically Black Adam territory. So 400 million. They would say, hey, Supergirl's not, and this is true, Supergirl's not as big as Superman. Right? Superman had all those product advertising tie-ins. People were paying Warner Brothers DC to market Superman, Dairy Queen, Milk Bones, Keebler cookies, all kinds of stuff they did with Superman. You can't do the same thing with Supergirl. Like that, the same money's not going to come in for the advertising tie-ins. Will Supergirl be a good film? I think Craig Gillespie made a good film. I don't like how they're marketing it because, with Supergirl, Craig Gillespie, the director, he made I, Tonya, Cruella. He does good with female leads. He said he made an anti-hero film. And my problem with the Supergirl trailer is I'm not really seeing an anti-hero film. I'm seeing Guardians of the Galaxy, which is not a flex, not a diss. I think it could be good. Just this is not the film that I think Craig Gillespie made. So the long story short, what I'm trying to say with this is I think Supergirl, they make around Black Adam money, they'll be okay. But the point I'm making is for DC, Gunn has to do much better with Man of Tomorrow. So this is where we get back to this this article here. He can't just it's not, his future is not contingent on Supergirl. That's the point I'm trying to make with that. And that's probably why I was told that, to kind of get ahead of this. So now the Wonder Woman angle, people thought they were going to fast track a Wonder Woman film. No. Gunn needs to put, again, all his ammunition in Man of Tomorrow, because this has to hit. And what did James Gunn Superman get? About 614 million. Man of Tomorrow, I was told as long as it gets similar to that, he's okay. But I think it needs to do more. So we'll see. It definitely can't just, fall under. It can't lose the headlines to Superman 2025. Man of Tomorrow cannot. So what's been fast-tracked with DC, again, is Wonder Woman, and it will make sense to put her in Man of Tomorrow, because you may not get your Wonder Woman film if Man of Tomorrow doesn't do enough. You need to show this viable world, and we need to see Wonder Woman now. We probably need to see Wonder Woman before Supergirl. Now, this isn't a dump on Supergirl, see, because again, people are going to mix up the messaging, what I'm saying here. Supergirl, Clayface this year. Low budget films, I think they're going to do fine. But that's not going to save anybody's job. Man of Tomorrow is going to solidify James Gunn's DCU world. The new owners will come in and say, okay, you keep fleshing that out. Because if it comes under this, then it's like, okay, it's time to course correct. We like, they may say, the new owners, yeah, we like corn sweat. We'll take corn sweat from you, and we'll just start making, we'll go another direction. So we'll see. But this is what's happening. They fast-tracked Wonder Woman's appearance because James Gunn is against the clock. This is business. Now, it says during the Hot Mic episode, Jeff Snyder, this is the person putting the rumor out there that, and you got Roka, that DCU's new Wonder Woman will indeed be introduced to Man of Tomorrow. And that Gunn basically now is meeting with different actresses. So this wasn't originally the plan with Man of Tomorrow. This wasn't the plan to make it basically BVS 2.0. How's Superman going to team up with a guy who murdered a man right in front of him? Yeah, that's kind of odd. Yeah, I agree. But, Lex is an anti-hero, so, it's a story. It's about the story. And, I mean, in the comics, and again, see, I'm learning. I can't just lean into, hey, this happened in the comics. That's not the majority of the crowd. That's what I'm learning. It's cool for references and Easter eggs for comic book heads, but comic book movie fans, that's a different audience. And so we'll see how that works, how that resonates with them teaming up Lex and Superman. So again, the rumor out there, Wonder Woman and Man of Tomorrow. I'm saying this wasn't the original plan. This has been fast-tracked. Because who knows if they're really going to do that separate Wonder Woman film. So you got to shoot your bullets now with Diana. So that's one thing. Now the next thing, because there's another part of this, and that's really the main thing that I wanted to touch on with this rumor. The Wonder Woman stuff, that's fine. And again, that's just a little nugget that she was fast-tracked into this because this wasn't the plan. But the next question, I'm going to put this in the YouTube chat first, and then I'm going to discuss it. Let's see. Would DCU Batman make you more interested in Gunn's universe? Let's put that in the chat. Yeah, you're asking about comic books. So that's why I'm saying the diehard comic book readers are not the majority, are not the target of these comic book movie films, these CBMs. You can't make films catering to the comic book junkies. That's actually not going to sell these films. So I always relied on, hey, if it's in the comics, it could work. But that's the point. That's the point I'm making, is that it's not about, if sales are down, that proves my point. Though it's not, though. I don't know why you said that. DC sales have been up this past year, comic books. But you can't just cater these films to comic book heads. You have to reach a broader audience, is the point with that. But DCU Batman. Let's see, did I put the poll? Or did I not put it up there? Hold up. There it is. No. A lot of people are saying no. Could we also see DCU's Dark Knight make his debut in Man of Tomorrow? Now, this is what Jeff Snyder is claiming. Now, this was, let's see. When does the article come out? About 5 days ago. And I think, I would say within 48 hours early of that, Snyder put this out. So the first week of January, okay, this rumor is being put out there, the Wonder Woman part, but then DCU's Dark Knight. Snyder has heard that Batman will not appear in the movie but be referenced. This will mark the first live-action nod to the Caped Crusader, but Gotham City's protector did briefly appear in shadows in the animated Creature Commandos series. He also put out there, he heard that the Teen Titans movie has hit a snag. So he's kind of just throwing different stuff out there. But the DCU Batman, I bring this up because what did we say? Snyder said this like a week ago. But then also, too, this was put out there. When was this out there? This was out there a month ago. A rumor was out there, and I'll tell you what I'm hearing, but this rumor was put out there that Batman update, nothing has been filmed yet for Clayface featuring Batman, at least not with an actor. If he appears, and they're hearing that he will in Clayface, it will be as a silhouette shadow, or he will film his scene next year. He is very likely to be in Man of Tomorrow 2. These people predated Jeff Snyder. One thing longtime viewers of me will understand, I like to hunt down the source, where the stuff is coming from. And it's nice Jeff Snyder's putting it out there and stuff. But I heard about Batman, DCU Batman potentially in Clayface silhouette. I heard that last year, like earlier last year. So it's always cool when you hear other people bring out stuff. But this predates what Jeff Snyder was saying. And again, this is showing the fast track that James Gunn's DCU is doing. They don't have time to play around with doing small projects. Like, that's great. They got Clayface film. They got Supergirl film. More content this year. Lantern series. That's cool. But that's not going to save James Gunn's job. You need to go ahead and bring the heavy hitters, and they're fast tracking this. So yes, in Clayface, you better have a Batman silhouette in there because you can market that. Don't make the Black Adam mistake when you had Henry Cavill Superman and you just put him in the post credit. When you could have put Henry Cavill Superman in the third act of Black Adam and then market the film. So I just feel that was a mistake with Black Adam. We understood what happened with that. And it still hurts me to this day. But what James Gunn is doing, he has to spice up these films. You already know Corn Sweat is in Supergirl, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. But you put Batman and Clayface, just a simple, small cameo. You only got even got to see Batman's face. Then you could put that in a trailer, a teaser, and you'll make a little money with Clayface. And then, yes, you put him in Man of Tomorrow. Again, small cameo. You can market it. It's BVS 2.0 because you got the Trinity in Man of Tomorrow. So, this is older rumors that's coming up. A lot of stuff gets recycled, is what I've learned. And so this predated Jeff Snyder. I heard something similar to this last year. The Man of Tomorrow stuff I didn't hear, but the Clayface stuff, Batman. Now it's looking like Wonder Woman and Batman will be a Man of Tomorrow. So very interesting. Let's see what the chat is saying. That was the first rumor we discussed. We'll get to the SnyderVerse stuff in just a moment. Let's see what we're saying here. Gunn can step down, let Zach take over. That would make his DCU more interesting. Gunn's not going to step down. They would have to ask him to leave for him to step down because of all those producer credits and everything. He's not going to give that up. Gunn's Batman does not make me less or more interested. I'm really just going through the motions. That is, I'm seeing more people kind of with that. It's an overwhelming no in the chat. 92% said DCU Batman would not make them more interested in Gunn's universe. I voted no because I just don't trust Gunn. I gave all his DC stuff a fair chance. Was disappointed every time. I'm checked out until changes are made for the better. I will say this. As much as I'm like, okay, James Gunn Superman, it didn't blow off the doors. It didn't, it was okay. I think Supergirl is going to be okay. Lantern series, I hope okay. If they just have plain clothes on, I don't know what they're going to do. But Clayface, if they lean into again, it's going to be DC horror. So this is going to be interesting. Low budget, more practical effects, perfect for Batman to swoop through. I just think Clayface is going to be interesting. That's all I'm saying. Clayface could be interesting. But what I'm told, Supergirl, Clayface, Lanterns, that's not going to save James Gunn's job. It's not going to be big enough. So, pause. But Man of Tomorrow, you better have Wonder Woman in that film. You better reference Batman in that film. You can't save any bullets. You cannot. You don't have the luxury of time. No surprise, that's how Jovic feels. Batfleck over whatever Gunn is planning. I voted no because I'm interested. I voted no because I'm interested because it's DC. Okay, well, I guess yeah, that's fair. Zach is a blueprint. BVS 2.0. You better do that, Gunn. Like I said, that's interesting. If the Batman stuff comes to fruition and Man of Tomorrow, I'm pretty confident the Wonder Woman stuff is going to be there. The Batman stuff, that's just for cameo's sake. You know what I'm saying? But you should do it. You should definitely do it. House says here, I think you need a whole Batman and Clayface film, not just a silhouette. Clayface is cool to comic book fans, but the general audience doesn't hear his name and think Batman. This is fair, like they do with Joker. This is fair. That's why, and I think the silhouette, and you could do multiple silhouettes, but my point is have them pop up a few times so you can just put it in a trailer to just say, oh, Batman. Oh, what's going on? This is Batman's world. Okay. And you can sell this Clayface film. Now, you don't got to lean too much into Batman because they only spent $40 million, right, to make Clayface. So you can get away with just, kind of playing around. Man of Tomorrow, though, if Batman's going to be referenced in there, I don't think that's enough. You need to see Batman. You're going to see Wonder Woman. You need to see Batman. Again, what I'm being told, Gunn cannot hold back. He doesn't have the luxury of time. I think Supergirl will be Millie Alcock and Jason Momoa pretty good. Surrounded by a film that won't be that good. See, I think the film's going to be, I think Supergirl is actually going to be a decent film. But they're already kind of conceded, just according to what I'm told, is okay, we're only spending $100 million. Again, I was told this weeks ago. These numbers are being confirmed. They're just like, okay, it's going to make like Black Adam money. And we can spend this and say, oh, it did just enough. What about Man of Tomorrow? Let's get the Trinity in there. That's what this is about now. Man of Tomorrow is going to be a major drop off because the last movie was so underwhelming. Expect whatever little profit they want to tell. Well, I wouldn't say underwhelming. Superman, I mean, it could be underwhelming for some people. They're leaning into, they're saying the profit that they made from it. And what I'm sure what they realize is that Man of Tomorrow has to match that. That's what I've been told. And I think it should do better instead of just similar. If Man of Tomorrow is a drop off, it's over for James Gunn. Just point blank. If it's some kind of drop off for that, it's over. Is that fair? I don't think it was fair that they flipped on Dwayne Johnson on Black Adam. So it's never has to be fair. You know what I'm saying? This is the situation James Gunn is in. If he was nervous about his Superman film, I think triple that with Man of Tomorrow. Triple that for the Trinity. Because if this is not a hit, if this is a drop off, then Gunn, you just start packing your locker up, man. That's over. Supergirl movie looks like a spinoff script. They originally planned for Gamora and Nebula from the Guardians. Because it has familiarity to the Guardians, it will do good. That's funny, though. he dusted off old Nebula script. And it's only elements of the comic. See, I think what Gunn realized is it's kind of, I had my light bulb moment with just saying, oh, just do what the comics do. And no, that's not going to sell these films. You could take elements, Easter eggs from the comics, but you got to probably do some original stories or, sprinkle in some original stuff. So you dust off that Nebula and Gamora script, plaster Supergirl, put some elements of the comics, yes, for our diehards. I think it's going to do okay, but I don't, they're not expecting this to do a lot of money, Supergirl. Anyone asked for a Supergirl film? Again, it should have been Wonder Woman. Okay, we got some Gunn positivity out here. Enjoyed Superman 2025. Man, tomorrow will do great. And if that's the case, I think Netflix, if Netflix, wins this, since Netflix has got caught trying to underbid, Netflix is going to step up and actually pay the proper price. And so if Netflix wins this and Man of Tomorrow does great or does what it's supposed to do, then yeah, I think they would keep Gunn and Safran, or at least Gunn. I don't know if you need Safran as an exec. We'll talk about that in the future. The poll, will DCU Batman make you more interested in Gunn's universe? 87% no on YouTube. We'll keep that up a little longer. Team Netflix. I think Netflix, like I said, I favored the Paramount package, but I was like, man, Netflix, they could do a lot with DC, man, and that I don't mind that. Interesting. Let's get to the main rumor. The reason why I even did this episode mostly was because of a lot of people are seeing Zack Snyder very active on social media, and they're wondering what this means overall. Because this is the thing. Okay, before I even get to that, James Gunn. There was another thing that he talked about, Creature Commandos. So just real quick, I want to touch on this because it's kind of tying into the James Gunn conversation. Let me blow this up some. He's confirming, as far as Creature Commandos is, he said, we're done animating the new season of Creature Commandos, which is in production now. So, you had that sweatshop of animators. They were like, we can't make the deadline, Gunn. And Gunn, like the animators came out and said, Gunn, like, we're not going to make the deadline. Gunn came out and announced for them, yes, they will. They will make the deadline for season 1 Creature Commandos. Now, I've long gone on record that actually I enjoy Creature Commandos because it's such a diehard DC Easter egg show. It's not for the masses. Right, that's what I'm learning. Like I said, that these diehard DC nuggets, it's not for everyone. That's not what's going to make you a lot of money. It's cool for people like me. I don't think he stuck the landing with the finale of Creature Commandos, but just the fact that you have these, some obscure characters, you can go into the backgrounds, you do some cool stuff. And then, of course, they had the Batman shot of all time and Creature Commandos, right? So a lot of potential I saw with Creature Commandos just for fringe audience, right? We're not talking about breaking viewership records. And maybe that's what Gunn is, the fringe guy, the stuff. I give you the stuff, obscure stuff. Because the Superman, while it did make a profit, it didn't blow the doors off internationally. And I'm not sure what Man of Tomorrow will do. But Gunn is good at this obscure stuff. So Creature Commandos in development. And then there was a report not too long ago. Let me pull this up here. I'll take this off and then pull this up. There we go. Creature Commandos Season 2 will feature Captain Atom. Now, the general audience, if they hear first, the general audience, they really didn't watch Creature Commandos because first it's obscure and then it was animated. So you're not getting a lot of viewership with that. Again, that hits for me. I like the obscure stuff. So that was actually cool seeing a GI robot and, again, the whole Dr. Phosphorus. I thought that was all great, but it was, it was just my circle liking that. And so this comes out recently, Captain Atom, and then James Gunn teased like it's a DC comic where Superman fights Captain Atom. Cool. The general audience, they're like Captain Atom. They're thinking it's Captain ADAM. They're thinking, is this Black Adam's brother? Black Adam, Captain Atom? No. Another obscure character, which I think will work great, but not enough people are going to care. All right. That's why Gunn has to fast track Wonder Woman and Batman, because not enough people, I feel, is caring about this obscure stuff. Peacemaker Season 2, some of the best stuff James Gunn has written. Not enough people cared. You stranded Peacemaker at the end on a Salvation Run, a Salvation Island, or whatever. Great reference. He referenced Checkmate at the end of Peacemaker Season 2. Great reference. The general audience don't care about Easter eggs. You're just satisfying a couple sweaty nerds. And when Netflix, let's just assume Netflix ups their bid properly and buys this, or even Paramount, but let's go with Netflix right now. They come into the door, they're like, this ain't making us money. This is obscure stuff. Captain Atom, great. Visually, I think it's going to look great. Not enough people are going to care. That's the problem that Gunn is running into. That's what I'm saying as far as my Supergirl report. Not enough people are caring about Supergirl. Now, if it overachieves, great. Okay, that always can happen. No one expected Minecraft to do $1 billion or close to $1 billion. So things could catch on and it can just go nuclear. That's true. I don't see it happening with Supergirl, but okay. We'll see. What are we saying in the chat? If people look at what the other studios own, Netflix doesn't own anything. People are only upset at Netflix because the playing field will be equal. Maybe it'll lower all these streaming prices. Well, Netflix price is going to go up. Gunn will do better with Ambush Bug than with Superman or the Trinity. And that's my thing. And again, James Gunn, he's going to get this Man of Tomorrow off. And even if Man of Tomorrow does well, I mean, if Man of Tomorrow does $1 billion, then Gunn's going to make 5 more of these, right? If Man of Tomorrow does just enough, and even if Netflix says, okay, you can continue, I hope Gunn is smart enough to know, okay, let me allow someone else to do Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I can still be co-head of DC Studios of the theatrical side, because I think Netflix is going to take the streaming side away from him. That's just my theory. We'll see. But if Gunn came into this job, co-head of DC Studios, and said, okay, we're going to he's going to reboot and do exactly what he did, but say, okay, Chris McQuarrie, you come in and do your Superman film. This is a reboot, and he can even say, I'm not even going to force you to use Cavill. We're just going to reboot. I think this rollout of Superman would have went over better. Gunn still would have been co-CEO. He still would have been giving notes. But I I hope we'll see what Man of Tomorrow does, because I'm going to give Gunn his props if Man of Tomorrow hits big. If it's more of the same results, and Gunn still keeps his job, I think he needs to allow other people to do these big characters, because this small stuff, obscure stuff, I think he's great at this stuff. I think Gunn is great at these smaller characters. And if you get the viewership, you get the viewership. But, you can't get big checks doing these small stuff. Again, the general audience, they don't care about this. I do not hate Gunn or what he's doing, but him and WB should have had a serious conversation, letting Zack finish his other 2 JL movies, Superman, Batman, Cyborg movies. People want closure. I agree. Possibly. I'm not for sure. Even if people are just honest with themselves, it's okay if you just don't like James Gunn's style. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the closure is one thing, but I still feel with that closure, we didn't get the entire. But you're saying, okay, if you just gave them the whole SnyderVerse slate, then yeah, it would be a lot of closure with that. But that doesn't mean they're gonna like what Gunn is doing. You know what I'm saying? But I get your point for sure. Females are down in theaters in general, especially for superhero films. Oh yeah, and that's why they're not expecting a lot for Supergirl. So I mean, I know when I first brought that report out, a lot of people scoffed, and then the reports came out that yes, they're only spending $100 million, and they're expecting low returns, is what I was told. But just enough. They still think they can make a profit with Supergirl, but this isn't a big swing. And I think it's going to be a good film. I like the director, Craig Gillespie. So it's a mixed bag right there. The general audience doesn't care about or even know the obscure characters. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's not going to save his job. So interesting stuff there. So that's my diatribe about James Gunn. I want to get to what I really want to get to here now. I think Supergirl will be a surprise. And like I said earlier, hey, no one can guarantee this stuff. We can forecast. That's why I say Minecraft. If people remember, in real time, I was talking about the numbers, the expectations. And like I said, it's going to be a lot more box office talk, especially for the members on this channel. They were only expecting 50 million opening for Minecraft. If people remember that, it was an obscure stream I did on that. 50 million. And it came out and blew the doors off, right? So, yeah, hey, that can always happen. I'm not expecting it. They're not expecting it. But, hey, if it happens, of course, you take the money. Take the money. Interesting. Let's close these polls because this isn't... Okay, well, so we got a little more interest in the chat. Would DCU Batman make you more interested in Gunn universe? 81% says no. So we'll end the poll there. 81% says no. And again, you're coming in, and if you're not even interested in the universe already, maybe this is not enough to sway you, right? So we'll close that poll, gracefully bow out, and we'll see. It's all about results, right? Very interesting. Let's get to the main rumor. Some rumors again been floating around. Now I had a screenshot of something, and I didn't. Just another L of the night, because I wanted you to see the source. We get into the SnyderVerse rumor, and I just want to see what people think about it. Rumor roulette. Do I have the... I may have to pull it up. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. It may not. I hope it comes up better, but let's get into it. So this is a post. Let's see, let's get this together. Okay. Move these commercials out the way. Goodness. So, we have a post here that was about a week ago. Do I got the date on here? Did I fail on that? But it was like a week ago. I think plenty of you on Twitter, I think I've seen this post. I want the closure for the DCEU SnyderVerse. As long as we get that, Gunn can stay or go. I prefer he go because I don't like his worker style. And yeah, like I said, Man of Tomorrow, that's going to determine everything. So this post, I saw this everywhere on my feed. People tagged me, DM'd me. You know, because if people don't know, I was getting into some SnyderVerse leaks in, what was it, 2022? Summer 2022, it was pretty hot over here because you had Ben coming back, Cavill. They redid the end of the Flash film to include Cavill so he could meet his cousin, Kara. They were writing Man of Steel 2, Henry Cavill, Man of Steel 2. Ben was going to go to the multiverse at the end of the Flash film. I reported all that stuff back then. He was going to be in Aquaman 2. That was confirmed. And then Black Adam didn't do well. Zaslav did a 180. Hired Gunn and Safran. The rest was it's history because now we got Gunn's DCU. Now, since then, I've been told for the last couple of years that Zack Snyder was not done with DC. That Zack Snyder will do DC again. Zack himself said, hey, if I get a chance, I'll do the Dark Knight Returns, which I think is code for finishing his story. I explained this before, but at the end of the Snyder Cut, you saw Batman on the Bat tank, and you saw what appeared to be like, or sort of like the mutants in Gotham. That's directly from Dark Knight Returns. Zack gave you that imagery in Snyder Cut, meaning I think that's a part of the new story that Zack was going to do to finish the story. We understand Zack famously leaked out his old story, and that was the scary version. The version that Warner Bros. Said, ain't no way you're going to have Bruce and Lois hook up. No way. That was that cut. Zack's story obviously has changed. Terrio, went on record saying this is a new story. And I think it included that Dark Knight Returns element. So I rest my case on that. But I was told repeatedly that Zack Snyder would do DC again. And that if I hear something, that I'll make sure, I'll scream it from the rooftops. It's been kind of quiet. But then Zack Snyder got very active on social media. Very active, posting SnyderVerse related pictures, hyping up Henry Cavill Superman. He is Superman. He is a generational Superman. And you can still like corn sweat. It's okay. People make it like it's like either or. Now, some people feel that way. Some people feel like, hey, just give me Snyder, get rid of Gunn. Or let's keep Gunn, no Snyder. But you got Matt Reeves. You had Todd Phillips till he, happened with the Joker too. But so you can have Matt Reeves and James Gunn, right? DC is a multiverse. You could have Zack Snyder as well too. So with Zach being so active on social media, it's gotten us all excited, just like it's 2019 all over again when Zack Snyder was dropping dark side pictures and different things. Zack Snyder knows his fan base. He knows what we want. I don't believe, and I covered all this as soon as Zach started posting stuff on Instagram. I said, Zack Snyder knows he's going to get us excited, and he's not going to play in our face like this. Something has to be happening, right? So just in general, that's where I'm at, is that Zach will do DC again. Warner Brothers is about to be sold, whether it's Netflix or Paramount. And I believe Zach has an angle to do DC either way. So let's make that clear. Now you're starting to see just different people saying they're hearing things, and it's like, okay, let's entertain this. Part of the rumor roulette. So this post here says, shocking DC leak. You got this account, the Roman, like Roman Reigns is like ain't that Nicki Minaj's nickname, the Roman or something like that? I don't listen to her music that much, but shocking DC leak. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are ready to don the Superman and Batman capes once again. Under one condition only: Zack Snyder must return. Multiple behind-the-scenes sources reveal that quiet, high-level discussions are already underway. Now, this is what I'm going to say, because again, here at Rumor Roulette, I started this series. That's why I started with the comments that I said, is that in the beginning of the stream, I've received, and this was Marvel stuff, but I received multiple rumors that I automatically discarded as just, oh, this is nonsense. Where is this coming from? I'm not running this. And then I received some Avengers Doomsday stuff. And I was like, this is ridiculous, right? Right? And I reached out to a couple of the people that's helped me with a lot of stuff in the past. And they said, at first it's like, oh yeah, the Avengers Doomsday, yeah, that looks false. It was a long thing. And then they got kind of like to the middle of it, and it was like, wait, this is like verbatim true. Then it was followed by other crap. And then it was like, it's like they're mixing in true leaks mixed up in the mud here. So I was like, oh, this is how people are leaking stuff now. And it was a multiple things. So I'm stopping to say this and say, most of the stuff may not be true, but there could be nuggets here that could actually be happening. Discussions happening behind the scenes. I think because Zack Snyder is so active on social media that, yes, I believe discussions are happening behind the scenes. Let's go further. Fan pressure continues to mount on DC. We'll see. Man, tomorrow, we'll see the fan pressure. Cavill is said to remain deeply attached to his vision of a grounded human Superman. I don't know. The Cornsworth just did that. Cornsworth said he's as human as anyone else. What are we talking about here? While Affleck has never truly closed a chapter on his dark, battle-worn Batman. Now, again, like I said, this could be exactly like my event, and I'm going to do some streams about these Doomsday leaks as well, Rumor Roulette, because it's like a mix of stuff. It's crazy how people are putting out stuff now. We know Ben hasn't moved on from Batman. Now, I think just recently people was talking about he has the Batman suit in the office. Yeah, we knew that, but and it's the Flash Batman suit. Everyone else hating on that suit. I like that suit in the Flash. I still like the Flash film. But we're not gonna talk about that right now. That still hurts. What happened with that? Ben hasn't moved on, and I was told this 2 years ago that him and Zach, when Zach came out with the Dark Knight Returns, that he would do Dark Knight Returns, I was told either of them they would do it with each other or without or separately. But I was told if Ben secured the project to do Batman Returns, that he will call Zach and vice versa. And if it works out, it works out. But Ben is prepared. Ben would do the Dark Knight Returns. Maybe he needs proper funding. Maybe he's waiting, for the right time. Ben would do the Batfleck film 10 years from now. He would still be younger than Michael Keaton. People wasn't tripping when Michael Keaton was in Flash as Batman, but Ben will be younger than him. But I believe we're going to see the Batfleck movie. I just believe that. That's why I was pulling for Amazon to buy Warner Brothers. I was like, oh, easy deal. But we know Ben hasn't moved on, so that's my point. It continues. The SnyderVerse was never dead. It was only waiting for the right moment to rise. I don't know, it's kind of dramatic. What has just been leaked may be the final piece before a massive explosion that shakes the entire DC universe. Has a hierarchy change? Is that what we're saying? Are we taking The Rock's talking points? The hierarchy of DC is about to change? You know how that went? Never say never. That's what Zach said. Anything is possible. So it puts a link on here. And let's put the last poll in the chat here. Will SnyderVerse be restored? And again, I know people got different versions of what that means for it to be restored. It's whatever version you feel as far as the SnyderVerse being restored, do you feel it will be? All right, so we'll throw that into the YouTube chat. I guess I'll put it on Twitter as well. Why not? On Twitter, just to update, who do you want to own WB? Netflix, 38%. Paramount, 62%. In a landslide. That's what the people want on Twitter. They want Paramount. Let's see. I'm gonna put this question on Twitter. Will the SnyderVerse be restored? Question mark. Yay or nay? Cap or hot? All right, so we got that there. We got an article with this because I want to read this. Faith, Alfred Faith, huh? I think it's some nuggets with this one, right? The behind the scenes stuff. I think that's why Zach is active. Ben hasn't moved on. I 100% believe that. 110%. The Cavill part, we'll kind of get more into that. I mean, Cavill would do it, but the way they're kind of saying it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Hopium 2026. I like that. I like that. Let me pull up the article to this. Now the link is leading to this blog site. Again, sourcing can be an issue for this to be like an 100% thing, right? I'm going to be honest with y'all with some of the stuff, right? Like, if something is kind of coming out of left field, I'm going to point it out very clearly. But it's nuggets in this stuff is what I'm learning, after years of doing this now. I was like, there's some stuff in these leaks sometimes. So it points you to this site. So I'll save you a click. Shocking DC leak. So it repeated what was said right there, okay? But there's more. I want Man of Steel 2, Batfleck film, World's Finest. That'd be great. JL 2 and 3 would make the loss of Batfleck win of Darkseid hurt more. Wishful for sure, but people will be pleased. Oh, it'd be epic. I mean, I want epic DC, and I know Zack Snyder can do that. We'll see if Reeves can do that. Gunn, you can like the film or not. I didn't have that epic feeling. And I think Gunn can have his lane with this stuff. But when I think of DC, man, I want, like, DC. Anyway. So this blog, now I'm gonna be honest, like this blog, okay. There was a lot of ads that popped up. I got my ad blocker on, thankfully. So I want them to put a virus on my computer or something. So be prepared if you click on that link. It says a new wave of shock has rippled through the DC fandom. And this time it's not coming from a trailer or casting rumor or vague studio tease. Okay. A little dramatic. Like I said, I need this person to calm down. That's what I need. According to multiple behind-the-scenes sources, Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are reportedly prepared to return as Superman and Batman under one uncompromising condition: Zack Snyder must be back at the helm. The revelation has reignited conversations many believe are long buried. For years, fans were told the SnyderVerse was finished, closed, creatively abandoned. Yet now the whispers from inside the industry suggest that the story may not be over after all. In fact, it may have been waiting for the right moment to resurface. Quiet talks, loud implications. That's the first thing I agree with this, because they just, they like me in the morning with my coffee. It's like, hey, bruh, okay, let's get to it. Stop all these adjectives. But this is what I'm leeching on with consistently with the posts and with this article. Quiet talks, loud implications. Zack Snyder very active on social media. So I think it's some fluff here, but I think it's something to this. The quiet talks part. I would actually agree. I would actually agree with that. Sources close to DC. So they're saying their sources are close to DC. This is what they're saying. Quiet, high-level discussions have already begun. They are not public negotiations or press-friendly announcements, but internal conversations happening behind closed doors. Conversations driven by one undeniable force: relentless fan pressure. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, that's how we got the Snyder Cut. Zack said that. And this hasn't died off, right? Like, people was like, oh, move on. Gunn's gonna cook. Gunn is cooking. Well, we see Gunn's recipe. Okay. And that if there's an audience, that can be an audience. But this is DC, this is multiverse. You can still do SnyderVerse projects. And especially if that's what the fans want. If people want Zack's style of DC, why not give it to them? So the call has continued to be restore the SnyderVerse. It was just dramatic. I was like, bro, like, chill, right? We let Gunn cook. I got some 11. Oh goodness. Oh man. You're gonna upset the Gunn fans that watches this, man. Like, I know it won't be peace, but there's people that like Gunn's DC. The restore the SnyderVerse movement never truly disappeared. Excuse me. That is true. Even after the studio shakeups, leadership changes, creative reboots, fan campaigns continued across social media, conventions, streaming platforms. What once seemed like wishful thinking is now being discussed again in executive offices, according to insiders. So, like I said, I always like to hear, okay, well, I hate, side note, I hate when they hear a rumor or whatever, or a leak, what's your source? Like, no one's going to tell you their exact source, okay? That's so silly. But give me an idea where this is coming from. When I was talking about Ben Affleck coming back, I said it was someone in the know of the Aquaman 2 production, right? And that could be 1,000 people, right? When I said Cavill was back, I think people know that was close to the $7 Productions, right? So I'm not going to tell you exactly who the sources are, but you kind of get an idea where it comes from. So they're saying their sources are close with DC, and that's interesting. That's just very interesting, because DC collectively is a thing, and then there's DC Studios, and they work together, right? So like Gunn, he's co-head of DC Studios, but he's not over the comics, right? So it's kind of like an intertwined thing. It's not really that cleanly Gunn overall DC. I just want to make that clear. So it could be sources not under Gunn's camp that's actually saying this. So that's something to think about. Gunn's cooking sent me to the ER. Oh man. It's all opinions, y'all. I welcome all opinions. It's okay. Olive branch to the Gunn fans. Lois was good in Superman. Yeah, Rachel Brosnahan was great. When she was cast, I was like, that was my pick. If they were going to, when they were casting, well, most people that's been following that, they knew Corn Sweat was going to get it because Warner Brothers wanted him bad, and so before even Gunn got there. And then, but Rachel Brosnahan was great. I think she's going to be great, in Man of Tomorrow. We'll see. Is that her last film? We'll see. The Gunn Gooners and Spooners. Wait a minute, bro. The Gooners and Spooners. Oh man, I'm not even going to go that far on this one. Oh man. Gooners and Spooners. Let's finish this up, man. I'm gonna get in trouble with part of the viewers reading this stuff, man. But no, the call to restore the SnyderVerse has never stopped. And if people were starting to kind of tire out, Gunn, sorry, I'm getting tired. We got to start wrapping this up. Zach has been hyping up the SnyderVerse on Instagram, for the past couple months now. And again, they're saying it's coming from DC. One source described the current situation as a pressure cooker that's been building for years. That's interesting. I do like when, if you're going to rumor something, I do like when you try to quote something, even if you, maybe they're making this part up, but I do like quotes, right? A pressure cooker. The popularity of DC, where is it at, right? The comics, they're cooking on the comics side of this. And so I think they restored a lot of goodwill on the DC comic side. We'll see with the gaming, because after that Gotham Knights, that atrocious Gotham Knights game and Suicide Squad game, and then they canceled it. I thought it was a promising Wonder Woman game that they were doing. They got to restore the trust in DC games again as well. So, I mean, the brand has been taking hits from all sides. Again, the comics are getting much better. They're the best thing on the rack right now. And that's the absolute DC stuff and the mainline DC KO stuff. So comics have bounced back. We'll see about gaming. I think animation has gotten better with DC. That Crisis 3-parter animated film, I think they ended great. You had Kevin Conroy's final line as Batman. Was a wonderful display. This year, 2026, along, you got the live action DC stuff and series, Lanterns, but then you got Batman Nightfall, animated film. I think this is a 3-parter. That's going to restore some trust. I'm talking about the DC brand overall, right? That's what I'm saying, is that, okay, you could like the Gunn stuff. That's great. And hey, maybe that's turning the general audience back to DC. We'll see with Man of Tomorrow. But I know what works with DC live action. The Snyder Cut. Everyone likes the Snyder Cut, meaning everyone likes that style of DC that Zack Snyder was doing. Maybe you didn't like BVS, but you liked the Snyder Cut. So two things could be true here. You didn't like what he was doing with BVS, and Zack, in a sense, course corrected in the Snyder Cut. And everyone liked it. And people want more of that, right? So I'm just saying that could be true. So again, sources within DC, they're saying the studio may have moved on publicly, but the audience never did. Oh yeah, yeah. Henry Cavill's unfinished Superman. Henry Cavill's connection to Superman has always gone deeper than a single casting decision. Those close to the actor say he remains deeply attached to his vision of the character, a grounded, emotionally complex Superman struggling to balance godlike power with human vulnerability. Can't talk right now. Cavill's portrayal in Man of Steel divided audiences at the time, but over the years, it has gained a strong following. And that's true. Like, it's held up very well. 13 years ago, we got Man of Steel. And the replay value has always remained high. Fans now praise the performance for its seriousness, restraint, emotional weight, qualities that many feel are missing from more lighthearted interpretations. Now, this is, like I said, when I feel something is capping, I'm going to say it, okay? I'm just going to say this right now. This is a rule of thumb. When I go over some of these rumors in the future, when we're talking about SnyderVerse could be restored, whoever puts out a report saying, oh, SnyderVerse could be restored, that's great. It could be some truth to that. But when they use it for an opportunity to say, oh, but because Gunn's World is failing so hard. Now, I get it. Some people don't like Gunn's World. They did make a profit. They actually, are giving Gunn's DCU a chance because they like that they can do multiple projects, spin-off series. You got the Lanterns, you got the Clayface, low budget DC horror. You could try different genres. Zaslav really does like that. And even if, let's say, Netflix buys Warner Brothers, Netflix will still allow Zaslav, Gunn, and Safran to do their thing over there. So you don't have to say the SnyderVerse can be restored and all because they're not liking what Gunn's doing. That's not why. They could feel that they're missing out on a market, a target audience. Gunn may satisfy one audience, but you made a lot of money with Man of Steel. I mean, that still made more than James Gunn's Superman, right? BVS, $872 million, plus all the physical media. That's over $1 billion after you're talking about everything. So money was made. And though the critical success probably wasn't there, Warner Brothers self-inflictedly messed themselves up by pushing Zack out after BVS. Because BVS made so much money, you had to do the follow-up. This is just like Transformers. I talked about this last year, where, Transformers will come out and, because people like to say, no one liked BVS. It pretty much made over $1 billion. So just like Transformers, if you're making money and the critics don't like it, though, you still got to make another one because you made money. And you only stop when you stop making a profit. Transformers stopped because of Transformers The Last Night or whatever. And it flopped royally. All of a sudden, you ain't hearing about Transformers films no more, right? Let's do a Bumblebee. That's when they rebooted. Low budget Bumblebee. Haley Steinfeld was in that. And then you got, what they're trying to do now, Transformers and G.I. Joe, which would be pretty interesting. And then separately, they want to do a Michael Bay film again. They want to bring Michael Bay back now. See, they started losing money. Let's stop. And then now, is the audience, are they ready for big theatrical Transformers again? We'll find out. On the DC side, BVS made a lot of money. That's why Zack immediately went back in and started filming his Justice League. Then he was pushed out. Then Justice League was born and it flopped. It didn't make enough money. And that's what killed the DCEU. It wasn't BVS. And then if we would have received Zack Snyder's theatrical vision back then, 2017, would it have been the 214 cut? It probably would have been a little less runtime than that. People liked the Snyder cut. That's my point. Because I hate when people, it's a revisionist history. BVS killed it. No, it didn't. It actually didn't. Justice did. And they really haven't recovered. And what they're doing now, they're trying to create this new audience with James Gunn. And, we'll see if that continues after Man of Tomorrow. In the meantime, you can still hit, since Gunn's not going to use Darkseid, he's already come out and said that. Easy lane, Justice League 2 and 3. Gunn cooked up a vegan tofu casserole with avocado toast and soy milk. And hey, some people may like that dish, Dave. Some people may like that. Who cares what the critics think? What does the audience think? You don't get 876 million from people who don't like the film. That's what I said. That's why I never bought that narrative. People, even if you hate Zack Snyder's style out there, you can't deny the money. There's still a market like that. That's in business. That's how people lose their jobs. When you're like, man, like we're leaving millions on the table, tens and hundreds of millions. That's what's happened since then. Yeah, and Hamada, John, Sarnoff, Emmerich, incompetence, all in one word, justice. Yeah. But like I said, when they try to say the SnyderVerse is coming back and they want to cap at Gunn, it's like that. Yeah, that's conjecture right there. Okay. According to sources, Cavill has never rejected a return outright. Instead, he has been selective. He doesn't want a cameo. That's a shot at Black Adam. He doesn't want a soft reboot that ignores what came before. If Superman comes back, it has to mean something. I like that. That's something sources say is Zack Snyder. This is a very interesting article. If they put his true version out there instead of the theatrical version, critics would have loved it more. Most likely. Ben Affleck's relationship with Batman has been equally complex. Publicly, Affleck has spoken about the personal challenges he faced during his time as a Dark Knight that was on the Justice set. Yet privately, insiders claim he never truly closed a chapter on his battle-worn, morally scarred Bruce Wayne. Affleck's Batman, older, darker, and visibly exhausted by years of fighting crime, was one of the most radical interpretations the character has seen on screen. While controversial at first, it has since gained renewed appreciation, particularly after Zack Snyder's Justice League reframed the character's arc. I'm gonna be honest, because we love all that Zack Snyder's doing, of course. But I like BVS Batman over Snyder Cut Batman. Now I'm just gonna now Nightmare Batman may give me more of that BVS Batman, but no, that warehouse scene, no, I wanted an entire film of that. Right? That's what I wanted, the Batfleck movie of that Batman. Because when you get to Zack Snyder's Justice League, he's kind of mellowed out a little bit. I'm like, that's cool, but can we go back to the Psycho from BVS? Probably not. Affleck always felt there was more story to tell, a source revealed. His Batman was never meant to be a one-note character. There was redemption coming. According to the leak, Affleck's willingness to return is tied directly to creative control and narrative continuity, both of which believes only Snyder can provide. Why is Zack Snyder the non-negotiable factor? At the center, of it all stands Zack Snyder. For Cavill and Affleck, Snyder is not just a director, but the architect of a shared cinematic vision. Insiders suggest that both actors feel the emotional and thematic foundation of their characters was uniquely understood by Snyder, and without him, returning would feel hollow. The SnyderVerse, sources say, was never designed as isolated films, but as a long-form mythological arc. Its abrupt interruption left character journeys unresolved, themes unfinished, and fans deeply frustrated. The plan was bigger than people realized, one source said, and it was never completed. Now, if this is sources from DC, y'all stupid because y'all saw the storyboards. All right, so like I said, there could be nuggets. Then there could be some, we're going to call the cap when we see it. Because when you say your source is close to DC, they saw all the storyboards. So they know how big this SnyderVerse was going to be. So I'm just, okay. Shout out to VEGA reposting this on X Twitter. Now, this is the rumor roulette. We are talking the SnyderVerse rumor. A huge post that went crazy online, and we're picking through it, rumor roulette style. Trying to get through some of the fluff here. Yeah, BVS Batman. Just give me that one. You know, if he's psycho, I don't care. What makes this leak especially explosive is the role fans have played in keeping the conversation alive. Unlike many franchise controversies that fade with time, the SnyderVerse debate only grew louder. Streaming numbers of Zack Snyder's Justice League, ongoing social media campaigns, and continued demand at fan events have made it impossible for studios to fully ignore. Executives may not publicly acknowledge it, but sources say the data tells a clear story. Interests never vanish. Now, let me step in. Let me step into this here. So, ZSJL numbers, though it weren't published, I talked to Sama TV in real time when they tracked the first month. I was right there at that time, and they were saying ZSJL was undoubtedly a success because people wanted to take Sama TV's numbers and twist them. I had them on my channel. I still am connected with them. Those my friends over there, Sama TV, and they misquote. People misquote them all the time to try to spread this narrative that ZSJL flopped somehow on HBO Max. Through their third-party numbers, they said no doubt it was a success, and then it has become a known fact that ZSJL was a smashing success on HBO Max, and the execs were happy, definitely, about Zack Snyder's Justice League only on HBO Max, to the point where Zaslav would not allow anyone, he wouldn't allow it to be licensed out. He allowed Man of Steel, BVS Ultimate Edition, even, he allowed that to go to Amazon. He wouldn't allow the Snyder Cut. So when people were saying sell GSJL, Zaz was like, no. I'm actually not going to sell ZSJL. And he didn't. So Netflix, if they win this, if they win Warner Brothers, and they put Snyder Cut on Netflix, and people be like, oh, how'd you get Netflix? Like, I had to buy the bank. I had to buy Warner Brothers. So sell Warner Brothers, that hashtag would actually be true. But no, Zaslav did not want to sell ZSJL because he looked at it as part of the core, and this is what I'm telling you. He looked at that as part of the core DC content. You had to come to HBO Max in order to see it, or buy the physical media. So like I said, it's some nuggets in here. Looking at the poll on YouTube, will the SnyderVerse be restored? 83% yes. I think the fact that Zach is active, something has to happen. That's just just point blank. Some of us have been through this before with Zack Snyder. When he gets active, we are active. That's never changed. Got Vega in the house. The creator of the Anthem, the channel Anthem. That's some sports. I'm about to get Vega on some sports talk. You know, we got Carlos and to argue with Vega about some sports. Always great to talk SnyderVerse, period, for sure. And whatever we find about this, we may have to wade through some stuff. We're going to get to the bottom of what's going on with these SnyderVerse rumors, for sure. For sure. So the numbers are there. Like I said, it's been proven times and times over. There is an audience for Zack Snyder's Justice League. And again, even Zack's haters like the Snyder Cut. This isn't nostalgia, a media analyst noted. It's sustained engagement. And that's a thing. That can be monetized, right? Y'all tried the reboot. Okay. We'll see what happens with Man of Tomorrow. That's fine. Reeves Batman. That could be a thing. You still could do this Dark Side story. That's all I'm saying. I mean, again, if more can come from that, great. But JL 2 and 3 isn't stepping on any creator's toes. You're just missing out on money right now. The studio dilemma. For DC, the situation presents both an opportunity and a risk. On one hand, reuniting Cavill, Affleck, and Snyder could trigger massive fan excitement and global attention. On the other hand, it could complicate existing plans, timelines, creative decisions. Yeah, I don't agree with that, though. If Gunn's saying he's not doing a Dark Side story, we know Reeves, he's not going to do a Dark Side story. So, this is a lane that you already started, with BVS, with Snyder Cut. It can easily be fleshed out and made. Shout out to VEGA. Global phenomenon. Yeah, I'm envisioning probably a Saturday night stream. We'll see. I'll talk to y'all later about that. I relaunched my sylabdul Sports. I think the link's in the description on YouTube here at sylabdul Sports. My NFL talk recap, wild card weekend. We're gonna do the divisional round all the way up to the Super Bowl. But we gotta chop it up with the group as well. So we'll talk about that. Sources stress that nothing is finalized. No contracts has been signed. And I like that they said this because there was I thought about doing this stream when it was a rumor out there probably over a month ago that Netflix already signed Henry Cavill to a contract. And I was like, oh, the cap on that one, on that rumor. I was like, whoa. Like, believe me, I want the SnyderVerse, but I'm not just going to believe anything, okay? My goodness. Netflix didn't even close the deal yet for Warner Brothers, and they signed Cavill already? Like, oh. Like, come on now. Like, people see this, right? That was wild. So I'm glad that this, again, I think it's some cap in this article too, but again, I do believe talks are happening behind the scenes because Zach is active. And I do believe DC has to realize the brand needed to improve across the board: comics, games, animated films, live action, theatrical. So I do believe those leanings. And again, I do like that they didn't just copy that bad rumor that said Cavill was signed already. Oh, man. Gunn is afraid to do Dark Side because he knows that he can't top what Zach did, point blank. And I think it's just too soon. But that benefits us wanting Zach to finish his story. So, okay, it's not going to be any overlap, right, with his plans. So, that's a lane. That's a lane right there, for sure. For sure. No announcements are imminent. That's a funny word. But the fact that discussions are happening at all marks a dramatic shift from the narrative. And so this is a fair, though I don't agree with everything in this article, this is a fair angle that talks could be happening behind the scenes, at the very least. At the very least. Insiders caution that expectations should remain measured. Studios move slowly. corporate realities often override creative passion. Still, the alignment of fan interests or demand, actor interests, unresolved storylines have created a rare moment, one that DC may not get again. The SnyderVerse was never dead, one source concluded. It was paused, waiting. Is this Lightcast? No, but if you know, you know. Whether that's a deep cut for the longtime viewers. Whether that wait is about to end remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the DC universe is standing at the crossroads, and what happens next could redefine its future. If this leak proves accurate, the return of Superman and Batman under Zack Snyder wouldn't just be a casting decision. It will be a seismic event. Chill. I agree, but chill out a little bit. One capable of shaking the entire DC universe to its core. I just feel like I got to read it like that because it's just so. And if it doesn't happen, the pressure will only grow louder. Hey, I mean, interesting stuff here. Like I said, I can't front. I think it's some stuff sprinkled in here. I don't know why they got Christian Bale right there, but I think that's the AI. It's some stuff here. And this is the approach of my new series when either when stuff like this comes out publicly or I hear about maybe some uneven stuff. Let's speculate this together, right? Remove the veil. Like, how Netflix was guarding their deal, that they wasn't really spending enough money. Take that veil off. Let's see. So what do we think about this article, y'all? This was interesting read. Expect more, like I said, more stuff like this on Rumor Roulette. Again, we'll have the latest, CBM film news, / film news, stuff that interests the crowd, popular stuff. We'll get into some rumors. We'll see exactly where it's coming from. And then at times, like I said, I'll have my own stuff, but this was fun to kind of put this out there. So as we wind this down, like we know we back streaming when we're pushing Snyder Cut levels of time over 3 hours, going on 4 for the stream. That means we're back in a comfortable place. The last couple of years, it's been a crazy time. That I don't talk about a lot. Personal life and stuff, and so this is like an escape for me, and to see, just I come out with a stream out of nowhere, and to see the familiar names in the chat definitely makes it worthwhile. We're going to keep doing this when possible, and like I said, we're going to do some member stuff. We're going to do the Patreon stuff. Let's say if you become a Patreon, link in the description. I did a rumor roulette of the Blade rumors. Had a lot of fun doing that as well too. So if you want that expanded coverage, become a Patreon. If you want to hear DC, Snyder, popular film news, then you're in the right place right here on the podcast channel. Long form content, short form content will be on the Sylabdul Geek channel. We'll have you some quick hitters. It's going to be original content across all the platforms. So get in where you fit in, as they say. With that, as we wind this down, let's look at the chat. that like has kind of messed you up, didn't it? I will say, let me say this, because I know I still take jabs and stuff, but if y'all saw my interview with Taylor Murphy of The Culture Nerd, great conversation. I think that's just under the members folder now. So check that out if you haven't. Great conversation, catching back up with The Culture Nerd. A lot of people know that's kind of was my start online. Even before I was doing videos, I was connected with The Culture Nerd. And so I owe a lot of, my exposure early to them, before I started doing my own thing. And then, I found Mikey Sutton, and, the rest was history with that. me and him had a great conversation, months ago, this past summer, and he did, he did tell me some stuff about Lightcats, like, what he's up to. He's kind of laying low. They know like how things went left and everything. And so I think just people, people get older, and I'm not saying I'm not expecting to have a stream of Lightcats again, but it was just kind of cool hearing, he's living his life, got his family. That's all you can ask for, right? I'm still gonna jab at times, but it's just what it is. Let's see. Excuse me. Talking future SnyderVerse is so exciting. Feel like we're back in 2019 for real. Same vibes, 2019. Like something's happening because Zach is active. That's the core of what we're saying going forward. So I'm not going to I'm not just going to blindly just dismiss rumors anymore. It's like, okay, let's see what they're saying. Because we know something's happening. That is the call. Restore the SnyderVerse. Bring on the Motu content. Can't wait till that film come out. We're going to have fun talking about that. The activation for sure. Again, you see all the links to the content. It's all under the Linktree link in the description as well, or you can go to the channel separately. However you want to do it. Appreciate the new members, the super chats. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back active. Later streams kind of work better now, but like I said, we'll see. There's no telling with me when we'll go live overall. Let's see. Do you think the SnyderVerse could be bigger than the Absolute Universe on printed page? Oh, I mean, it already is. Like I said, on the comic side, that's the smaller numbers is the comic readers. SnyderVerse has already been big in theaters and on streaming. But I love the Absolute Universe in comics. Like I still gotta catch up. I'm like a month behind reading all my comics. And I'm still deciding. I'm gonna do comic book content. That probably be on the Patreon. We'll see. I may put some here on the members. We'll see. But the SnyderVerse is already bigger than printed page. Appreciate you, Jovic. Again, check out all the links with that. Like I said, good seeing some familiar names. That's reinvigorated. It always reinvigorates me. And we're gonna slide on out of here. For sure. Yeah, Absolute's great. But it's levels to this. Much love to Syl Nation. We was on X Twitter. We're on sylabdul podcast as well. More to come 2026 popular film news, DC, Snyder. And whether you like it or not, more James Gunn. We out of here.
Watchmen forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word, yo, Syl? We need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Syl. We need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show. Let's go.